Hello, I'm Gus Revenberg, here to tell you of our one-price selling policy. At Gus Revenberg Pontiac Buick GMC, we believe our customers shouldn't have to hassle and haggle to receive our lowest price. Every car, truck, and van carries our discounted price 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to rely on your negotiating skills to receive your best price.
The one-price selling policy at Gus Revenberg's.
Serving Essex, Kent, and Lambton counties. This is CBC Television, Windsor 9.
The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
This will be a 46-yard attempt. Todd Dillon will hold. 15 seconds remain. 28-26. Osbaldiston's kick is good.
One kick. This is it. Do you go home or do you go to Calgary?
40 yards. He shot. He misses. It's over. Eskimos win.
While Dave Ridgway failed, a rookie kicker, Sean Fleming, sent Edmonton to the West Final today against Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders. Paul Osbaldiston's kick touched off celebrations in Hamilton. The Ticats had risen from the dead to travel to Winnipeg, where they have a date with the Bombers in the East Final.
One of the key in this ball game and any playoff game is always turnovers. Which team take advantage of each team's turnovers, and there's no question we don't want any turnovers on offense, and we want our defense to get all the turnovers.
It's right, 60 minutes to get to where we want to be. Two teams that are evenly matched. We've got to be smart with the football, get our ground game going, and keep their defense off balance, because they're some big boys, and we want to make sure that we're trying to confuse them as much as possible.
Last year, Matt Dunnigan played through an injury to win the Grey Cup in Winnipeg, and he won it for the Argos. Frequently hurt this year, he has an opportunity now to win a big one for Winnipeg. If Dunnigan can't, Danny McManus will get a chance. Whoever is at quarterback will hand off a lot to the CFL's leading rusher, Michael Richardson. The Ticats have a starter in Damon Allen and a solid backup in Don McPherson. And for either Hamilton quarterback, hooking up with Earl Winfield is a must. The Ticat executive is hoping to have the last waltz at center field. At Winnipeg Stadium, the Bombers are 31-5 in their last 4 years. Would you not call that home field advantage? Welcome to Final Sunday, everybody. It starts here in Winnipeg as the Bombers host the Ticats, and when the decision is in on this Eastern Final, we'll go west to Calgary, where the Stampeders and Eskimos are set to play to complete the field for next Sunday's Grey Cup game. We want to update you on the condition of a member of our broadcast crew. Dan Kepley was admitted to a Calgary hospital on Friday. He has a stomach ailment, underwent surgery yesterday, but we're told is recovering now. Kep is a fighter, has always been. Kep, we wish you Godspeed, and we're holding open your spot in the broadcast booth. Filling in for Kep in Calgary today will be Saskatchewan quarterback Kent Austin. He'll almost certainly find it easier to read defenses in the broadcast booth. And right now, standing by at McMahon Stadium is Mark Lee. And Mark, there are wild reports of winter out there.
Well, Scott, Jack Frost is already nipping at my ears. This is the calm before the storm in Calgary, both figuratively and literally. About 3 hours from now, it's the Battle of Alberta, the Eskimos and the Stampeders. But we are also bracing for the first winter blizzard of the season. It's very windy here. Winds gusting 40 to 70 kilometers per hour. It gives us a wind chill right now of minus 22 degrees, and the forecast is calling for snow up to 15 centimeters this afternoon. The winner of this game, well, the host team of this game has not gone to the Grey Cup in 5 years. We'll see if the Stampeders can break that jinx. Scott?
Okay, Mark, so it is the Battle of Alberta for the right to go to the Grey Cup, and isn't that a perfect matchup with the stakes so high? And again, we'll go to Calgary as soon as Winnipeg and Hamilton have completed this East Division final. And in the broadcast booth to describe the proceedings at Winnipeg Stadium, here is Don Whitman with Joe Galette.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Joe, two of the most publicized off-season free agent signings were Matt Dunnigan and Damon Allen, former teammates with the Edmonton Eskimos. Both have been their team's starting quarterbacks all year. They are starting today, but will they be around at the finish?
Well, that's a luxury that both of those coaches have. Danny McManus is a youngster that has a lot to do with the way Winnipeg finished up the last 4 games of the year, and they got a 5-game winning streak. And, of course, Don McPherson is a guy who came from a 15-point deficit last week when John Gregory gave him the opportunity. So both quarterbacks, they could be in there. Both backup quarterbacks could be in there.
Coaches have indicated that if the starters, Dunnigan and Allen, don't get the job done, they could be replaced quickly. Hamilton is concerned about Winnipeg's running game, and they're going to make an adjustment defensively. I think we'll see a 5-man front.
Isn't it ironic? Because you saw all of these 6 DBs early in the year. Now it's cold. There's a running game. We're going to see big guys up there up front.
Richardson has had some success against Hamilton in 2 games this year. Scott?
Okay, Don, and the Bombers may have additional inspiration today in the presence of their head coach and general manager. Cal Murphy snuck into town on Friday, back for the first time since his heart transplant in July in London. He just got a standing ovation here a few moments ago, and he'll spend some time with us on Live at the Half. Stand by. The kickoff is next.
Rocket fuel.
If you see your name, call now to win $1,000 playing Rocket Fuel Touchdown.
Toyota trucks. It doesn't get any better than this, but it does get bigger. Introducing the Toyota T100 with a bigger cab so it comfortably seats 3 adults and a bigger bed so it easily carries a full 4x8 payload. The Toyota T100, the biggest import truck in Canada. Now you get to choose between better and bigger and better. Toyota trucks. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, meetings all day. How are the kids? What are you doing for dinner? Pizza.
Hang on.
Buster? How's my little sweetie? Do you miss Mommy? I miss you too, baby. When I get home, I'm gonna rub your furry little tummy. Yes, I am.
All right.
The crystal clear sound of Bell Long Distance. Stay close.
A crowd of about 27,000 in attendance this afternoon at Winnipeg Stadium. The temperature -1 degree. The wind is blowing out of the south-southeast at 19. The Hamilton Tiger Cats won the toss and have deferred their choice to the second half. Urban Bowman, the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and John Gregory, the head coach of the Hamilton Ticats, were on the coaching staff of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for 2 years, 1985 and 86. But both have different ideas on what should happen and what might happen this afternoon at Winnipeg Stadium. Jim York on the kickoff return, and he loses the football, recovered by Winnipeg. Andrew Martin comes up with the ball. Terry Wright made the tackle, and very early, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers get a break on the opening kickoff.
Well, that's what John Gregory has been telling us all week. We don't want to give any turnovers. That will swing the momentum. Here Jimmy York is taking the football, not used to carrying the ball on returns, and he gets that ball popped loose. And look at the good field position Winnipeg starts with.
Andrew Martin was there to recover the ball. Matt Dunnigan, the starting quarterback. He missed 5 games. before returning in the final game of the regular season. The pass to Richardson, he had to one-hand it, and it might be a good thing that he did, because that could have been very close to a lateral.
I think it was a lateral, Don. Had he not gotten that football, he would have been in trouble.
This is the way the Winnipeg Blue Bombers line up for the second consecutive week. An identical lineup for the Blue Bombers. Coach Urban Bowman was saying that's the first time this has happened all season.
And the down lineman is out. Roger Henning will be in, so they will be using their 6 DBs in this situation.
2nd and 15, Winnipeg, as Richardson lost 5 yards. Dunnigan completes the pass to Gerald Alphen to the 30-yard line. First down, Winnipeg. A gain of 20 yards. Dunnigan to Alphen. Dunnigan again getting help from the bench from Coach Mike Kelly in calling his plays. The Ticats have not made any lineup changes from the unit that defeated the Ottawa Roughriders 29-28 in the Eastern semifinal last Sunday at Iverwin Stadium. Big second down conversion for the Bombers. Dunnigan now has them 1st and 10. Penalty flag on the play. There was movement on the part of the Ticats. Is it offside or procedure? Jake Ireland is the man in charge of this afternoon's football game. Offside is the call. Hamilton.
Hamilton will be changing their front. They're going to have Lubo Zezakovic in there. 5 linemen.
Number 92. Still first down.
And then they will try to get Roger Henning and Terry Wright. Both linebackers are under 200 pounds, Henning and Wright. But Zizakovic, they hope, will give them that run defense, that big people up front that they need.
Richardson, the ball carrier, in his CFL debut against Hamilton. He ran for 197 yards on August the 27th. In that game, he also fumbled 3 times. Richardson, the only 1,000-yard runner this year in the Canadian Football League, 1,173 yards, and that was achieved in just 11 games.
And he was a force for the offensive unit. They certainly had a turnaround at about mid-season. They looked like they were struggling. The Blue Bombers came on strong with Richardson as the guy carrying the mail.
1st and 10, the ball at the 20-yard line. Dunnigan gives to Richardson. Richardson finds a hole, and he'll get about 6 or 7. Maybe even more, as he's not stopped until he gets to the 12.
And just to give you an idea of Richardson's power as well as his speed, he gets hit here by David Bailey, Terry Wright, and he drives them backwards. So this guy carries a pretty good load when he hits.
One thing Richardson is very aware of is his propensity early in the year to drop the football. He's been concentrating more in latter games and hanging on to the ball, and he is now trying to get a first down and should be close. On 2nd and 2, it appeared he penetrated the 10-yard line. Lubo Zizakovic made the tackle.
And Urban Bowman knows they need to get this touchdown. They took a good fumble recovery. They got good field position. They got to convert it into a touchdown. Hamilton's strength this year has been to have teams settle. They don't have a great defense in terms of yardage given up, but they have teams settle for field goals most often.
1st and goal, Winnipeg from inside the 10-yard line. This is the opening drive of the Eastern Final. The Hamilton Ticats, Jim York, fumbling the opening kickoff. It was recovered by Andrew Martin, and Dunnigan is now looking at 1st and goal from inside the 10. Richardson follows a couple of good blocks. Touchdown!
Well, this is a counter play, and watch Warren Hudson lead for Richardson. The big guy, you know, Richardson made a statement yesterday. I'd like to thank Warren Hudson and the rest of my offensive line. He thinks his fullback's an offensive lineman.
Warren Hudson does block like an offensive lineman, and that is one of the keys to Winnipeg's ground game. Richardson with the game-opening touchdown.
All your life, you've had to play.
Remember, decimal point.
by somebody else's rules. Introducing the all-new Intrepid from Chrysler.
For the last time, play the man, not the puck.
The car that broke all the rules. With roomier interior, cab-forward styling, and wider track, Intrepid is designed for the ultimate escape. The pleasure of just going nowhere fast. The new Intrepid from Chrysler.
How many essential nutrients are there in Kellogg's Rice Krispies?
What does he mean by nutrients?
What do you mean by nutrients?
I don't think there are any nutrients in Rice Krispies.
We don't think there are any nutrients in Rice Krispies.
Truth is, there are 7 essential nutrients in Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Because every Rice Krispie is made with a real grain of wholesome rice. But if you didn't know that, we've just one question. What the heck did you think it was made with?
Are you with the government?
Yeah?
Yes, I got tickets to my show.
Let's go.
Stetson Cologne, easy to wear, hard to resist.
Where's that great smelling guy who got me here tonight? I got a front row seat here just for you.
CBC has been the leader in news and information by being in step with the times. Now we've taken our next step. Peter Mansbridge and Pamela Wallen co-anchor CBC Primetime News, weeknights at 9. The time is right.
Although Mike Richardson led the CFL in rushing, that's only the 4th time he has crossed the goal line this year as a runner. In short yardage situations, Warren Hudson quite often carries the football. Hudson has 6 rushing touchdowns during regular season play, as opposed to the 3 scored by Michael Richardson.
Yeah, Hudson's their big guy, and they like him on short yardage. But that's got to help Matt Dunnigan having that running game going early in this game.
Nick Mazzoli on the kickoff return for Hamilton. The Bombers intend on trying to tackle the football as they did on Jim York in the opening kickoff. But Mazzoli was able to hang on an 18-yard return as Damon Allen gets his first offensive opportunity.
Well, Damon Allen has got a lot of weapons, and his strategy last week in throwing the football weak on man-to-man coverage, I'm sure he'll start out the game forcing the Bombers to make some sort of an adjustment on that weak side passing attack.
Damon Allen has had success this year against Winnipeg, both as a passer and as a runner. Allen is going to throw deep for Mazzoli, incomplete. He was being covered by Don Smith. It will be 2nd and 10 Hamilton. Damon Allen has the same group of receivers and runners to work with as he had in the Eastern semifinal win over Ottawa, and the offensive line also remains the same. It will be a big job once again for Jovanovich and Douglas, 2 of the new people along that offensive line. Winnipeg has a defense somewhat similar to that of Ottawa. Bobby Evans intercepts. A second turnover, and Winnipeg has it 1st and 10 at the 47.
And Lonzel Hill had the ball tipped off of his hands. Bobby Evans right there in man-to-man coverage. He just came over and made a nice reception, but that was an easy interception. There's Lonzel Hill trying to one-hand it. Watch Bobby Evans. Good reaction. Winnipeg is in great field position once again, and you know Matt Dunnigan, he's such a fired-up guy. This has got to settle him down a little bit.
1st and 10, Dunnigan going for Alf, and he can't hang on. It will be 2nd and 10, Winnipeg. Dunnigan throws a different ball than Danny McManus. Dunnigan throws a harder football. McManus throws a more catchable football.
You see Matt looking at his formation chart. He throws a ball that's sometimes hard to catch, particularly in cold weather, because he puts so much zip on it. Now Hamilton's going back to Henning in the lineup for Zizakovic, so they're just going down in distance.
2nd and 10, Winnipeg. 9:53 remaining in the opening quarter. Dunnigan's pass over the middle intended for Richardson was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and Winnipeg will send out the punting unit.
Well, they changed up on Matt Dunnigan that time. They actually had David Bailey. This guy's almost 300 pounds, dropping off as an inside linebacker. And I'm sure that surprised Matt to see them back into zone coverage when they had shown the substitution looked like they would go man-to-man.
Cameron, who has had some problems this year with the punting game. Not so much in his kicking, but the fact that he's been getting pressure. This one he gets away cleanly, fielded by Walker at the 10-yard line, and Walker is down at the 14. 9:32 is the time remaining in the opening quarter.
When buying a used car, two things are of prime concern: safety and security. And Road City Ford offers you both with the 60/60 Magic Card. 60-day 100% mechanical protection, a 60-day exchange privilege. In addition, you'll be eligible for a $150 referral fee and a 15% lifetime discount on parts and labor. Only at Road City Ford will you find used cars backed by the unique 60/60 Magic Card, ensuring satisfaction with your used car purchase. At Road City Ford, where we just want to be your number one.
The Lighting Boutique. Lighting that is music to your eyes. Featuring Maestro Ray Patel.
Laser Eye Institute. In 60 seconds or less, we're going to change the way you see the world. Imagine life without glasses or contacts. Excimer laser surgery is an investigational procedure that can reduce or eliminate your need for glasses. It's part of a continuing study, and thousands of people worldwide have already enjoyed extraordinary results. Life without glasses may be just a phone call away. The Windsor Laser Eye Institute, 1-800-663-IC.
Well, you can't overplay the importance of footwear in a football game on the prairies in November, but let me try. Rob Crepo is changing his now to the baseball cleat for better traction. Here's the choice players have. Normal shoe like this, which most players are not wearing because the field is fast. Most players are going for shoes with longer cleats like this. If it completely ices over, they'll go to the broomball shoe. But Don, how about this? High fashion in these boots here, but no one said fashion would be easy in the wintertime.
Industrial strength is what's required on occasion, Scott, no doubt about it. James West from his middle linebacking position coming in to make the tackle, and Orville Lee was driven back after picking up about 3 yards, maybe even 4.
And that guy knows how to talk to the offensive line. Look, he's telling him, don't come in here. If you come in here, I'll make the tackle. You know what? He backs it up most of the time.
Well, as they say, you have to be able to walk the talk, and most often James West can do that. Second down, Hamilton, David Allen goes down. Michael Gray with help from Randolph. And it's 2 and out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, you want to talk about pass defense. Michael Gray will give you pass defense because you don't have a chance to throw the football when Michael Gray's in your face. That's his 5th sack this year.
And you remember what Michael Gray can do defensively from the 1988 Grey Cup game, don't you?
I hate to think about that. They certainly do.
His interception of Matt Dunnigan's pass attempt late in the game that preserved a Grey Cup win for Winnipeg over the BC Lions. The ball is fumbled by the Blue Bombers' Bruce Plummer, but he is able to recover at the 48-yard line. Fumbles were a big problem for the Bombers on August 27th. 8 times they put it on the ground. They had difficulty hanging onto the ball on punts and kickoffs, and Richardson also fumbled 3 times.
And Dunnigan has good field position for the 3rd time in this ball game. But as you say, the fumbles haven't helped. He's had a reception that should have been in there but was fumbled.
Ever since they moved from the west to the east, the Bombers have been in the final every year. Richardson with a gaping hole, first down to the 34-yard line. A gallop of 15 for Michael Richardson, tackled by Wright.
Here's the thing that you have with a guy like Richardson. You talk about running at the bubble. That's where the linebackers are standing up. Richardson's so good at bobbing and weaving in and out of those things, so he goes to the bubble and then makes a good cut on that.
He's already carried for 39 yards on 5 carries. He had 197 yards the first time he played Hamilton, 109 yards the second time. He has 39, and with about 5 more, he's now up to 44.
And the thing that makes Richardson so hard to bring down is he's got a huge offensive line in front of him and a real solid fullback in Warren Hudson. So he's got all of that size pushing people back, and that gives him an opportunity to look for the seam. That's John Gregory's biggest concern. That's why they talked about going with those 5 down linemen.
Larry Thompson goes wide to the left. Dunnigan throws deep. Alphen, touchdown!
Gerald Alphen saw the man-to-man coverage, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Break for the post corner route. Matt Dunnigan gave that ball enough air to let Alphen make his break outside of the man-to-man coverage, and Gerald Alphen has been some kind of story this year.
He did not join the team until mid-season. He signed a 4-year contract with the Bombers. They were in desperate need of a slot back, a proven slot back, after the injury to Gerald Wilcox. And Gerald Alphen has filled that bill and has the Bombers in front, 14-0.
You're about to see a side of the best-selling compact pickup in Canada you never expected. A striking, more aerodynamic shape. A smoother, more controlled ride. Not to mention improved handling and 4x4 traction.
Ford Trust, the best never rests.
Introducing the all-new 1993 Ranger 4x4. Go ahead, get a grip at your Ford and Mercury dealers.
David, dinner time. David, dinner. Come on, David, we're going to McDonald's.
Whoa, we gotta go, guys.
Now, with a Big Mac Extra Value meal and a kids combo, dinner at McDonald's should sound as good to you as it does to your kids.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's tonight.
David, bath time. David?
Help, I need somebody help, not just anybody help. You know I need someone.
IBM introduces Helpware. When you need a little help, Helpware is only a phone call away.
Won't you please help me? Help me.
Helpware from IBM. Call 1-800-465-7999 for information.
November 29th, the Grey Cup on CBC television.
This morning on a radio interview, I heard Cal Murphy being asked if he would be more relaxed sitting in the press box watching this game than if he was on the sidelines, and he said, "Are you kidding?"
There's no place to relax.
Mazzoli on the kickoff return, and Mazzoli is surrounded at the 41-yard line. A 7-yard run back after a 40-yard kick. Gerald Alphen, who played in the CFL with the Ottawa Rough Riders, prior to heading south to the NFL, he joined the Bombers at mid-season. This 30-yard touchdown puts Winnipeg ahead, 14-0.
And they are exploiting the Ticats. You know, Dunnigan is so happy to get that running game going because now when they overcommit to the run, he can exploit them in their secondary.
The Ticats in a hole as they were last week against Ottawa. The pass intended for Hill, incomplete.
And I know John Gregory knows the importance of not getting so far behind against a team like Winnipeg. He's going to expect Damon Allen to pull some things out, get the offense moving, or he'll go to Don McPherson.
Well, these two teams have been extremely close all year. 2 of the games went to overtime. The other was a 1-point Hamilton verdict, and Winnipeg won the last 5-4. Here's James West blitzing on Damon Allen, and down goes the Hamilton quarterback.
Well, James West, you always have have to know where number 58 is, and he came and lined up to the outside. He actually telegraphed it. He showed it well ahead of time. Damon Allen wasn't aware of it. Those two linemen pinched down to the inside, and here comes West. Wild West did the job again.
While there are similarities in the Ottawa and Winnipeg defenses, Winnipeg gives you a lot of different looks, more so than Ottawa. With the Rough Riders, you basically know that Angelo Snipes and Greg Stuman are coming all the time. Not so with Winnipeg. Plummer fumbles the football, and Jim Yock has recovered for Hamilton. Yock, who coughed up the football in the game's opening kickoff, redeems himself with a fumble recovery at the Winnipeg 36-yard line. That's where the Ticats will scrimmage 1st and 10.
Well, there's nobody happier than Jim Yock. Maybe John Gregory, but this is Jimmy Yock coming down the field, and he sees the ball come loose. It looks like Plummer's concerned with who's on top of him, trying to get a no-yards penalty. He better concentrate on the ball.
That's twice Plummer has had problems handling a third down punt. Lorenzo Baker is after, and so is Randolph, and Randolph got to Damon Allen first, but Lorenzo Baker was coming from the backside, and he had a full head of steam.
Now, you were talking about that, Don, as to what you can anticipate from different defenses. Ottawa shows that their men are rush people. You never know what Winnipeg's going to do. They can rush with Baker, or they can drop him off in coverage. He's so good. Then the next time, West will come after you. So this is a force. This guy Baker has had a great year, and the veterans like James West, Greg Battle, have certainly been a help to him.
2nd and 19, Hamilton from the 47. Here comes West. Damon Allen got away. Damon Allen dives, but will be short of the first down. West had the initial shot at Allen, and he has been running for his life every time he has dropped back to pass.
Interesting thing about it is that Winnipeg is rushing the passer on first down. They're not even concerned with the running game. So Damon Allen has had a lot of pressure early in the ball game, even on first down. You would expect it, you know, on a passing down, but he's gotten it every time he drops back to pass.
Damon Allen was the number 4 rusher in the final CFL statistics this year, behind Richardson, John Volpe, and Reggie Barnes of Ottawa. Paul Osbaldiston with a field goal attempt. It is good. 4:17, the time remaining in the first quarter. Scott?
Well, Don, these teams may not have been evenly matched early in this game, but they certainly were during the season. Every game they played came down to a field goal. Troy Westwood from 39 yards out in July to give the Bombers an overtime win. Then a month later, Paul Osbaldiston with a routine 33-yard kick, and Hamilton won that game by 1. The next week, Osbaldiston had a chip shot to give Hamilton an overtime win here in Winnipeg, the only time the visitors won here all season long. And in mid-October here, Westwood, a factor again as the Bombers won at home. You know, only 9 points separated the Bombers and Ticats in the 4 regular season games. It's early in this game, and I think if there's one team that can give the Bombers a run for their money at Winnipeg Stadium, it's probably the Ticats, Don.
Well, they were the only team, as you said, Scott, to defeat the Bombers at home in 9 outings this year. Paul Osbaldiston's 39-yard field goal has cut the Winnipeg lead to 11 points. Osbaldiston was telling me as he was warming up that field conditions are pretty good. He wasn't too concerned about the plant foot. That's the key for a field goal kicker, as Dave Ridgway will attest, slipping last week at Commonwealth Stadium on what could have been a game-winning field goal for Saskatchewan. Dunnigan flips it out to Richardson. He's hit immediately by Terry Wright.
And that's why Terry Wright is playing that strong side linebacker position. He's really a defensive back. He's not even 200 pounds, but he came up and made the solid tackle. The key to this game is Winnipeg has got to have a good first down, because if they get into 2nd and long, then Hamilton will use their substitutions to get all their pass coverage people in the ball game.
Scott Walker is back for Bob Cameron's 3rd down punt. Urban Bowman was saying that Walker is a legitimate return guy. He said there are punt returners in the CFL, but Walker is one of the legitimate return people.
John Gregory,
and in a class all by himself is the Gizmo.
John Gregory thinks he'll be another Gizmo.
Penalty flags on the play as Walker is stopped at the 45-yard line. A 27-yard kick and a 3-yard run back.
That may be the best way to stop the gizmo and to stop this guy Walker. Take the 15 yards, no yard penalty. 15's better than 105.
First and 10. The ball is at the Winnipeg 52-yard line. 2:56 remaining in the opening quarter. Orvalie is dropped by Paul Randolph. Randolph may have had his best game as a Bomber in the final regular season game against the Ottawa Roughriders, won by Winnipeg 18-6. He had a couple of quarterback sacks, he had a pass interception, and was credited with half a dozen tackles.
Yeah, he's one of those forces that comes from the outside like a vice, and when you get Lorenzo Baker on the other side, those two linebackers pinching, there's not much room for the run or the pass.
Damon Allen looking deep for Hill. Damon Allen was throwing into double coverage as the safety Thomas had come over to help Don Smith. And it will be 3rd and 11, Hamilton.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas knew that was a passing down, so he just tried to lay back, play center field, and read Damon Allen's eyes. And this is not good for the Ticats to have to punt after being crossed midfield. They've got to take advantage of that good field position when they get it.
Paul Osbaldiston stands at his own 44-yard line. Bruce Plummer, the lone man back, a high snap and a low driving kick by Osbaldiston, and Plummer will get no opportunity to return as it goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Since moving to the Eastern Conference in 1987, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been in the Eastern Final every year. They won in 1988 and 1990 and also won the Grey Cup. Winnipeg has had a tremendous run as far as conference finals are concerned. From 1980 through this year, they have appeared in 11 divisional finals.
And Urban Bowman will tell you it's because of their strong running game every year and a solid defense.
In 81, they lost the semifinal to BC. In 86, they were also semifinal losers to the BC Lions. Richardson tried to go outside. The initial contact was made by Terry Wright.
And those big guys up front, they've got two 300-pounders, and Brett Williams, the pro wrestler, is about 275. They're stunting every time, trying to confuse the blockers so that Richardson won't find that seam and break it outside. If they can do that, they can stop Richardson.
What a season Brett the Toaster Williams has had after finding himself unemployed, being released by the Edmonton Eskimos. He joined the Ticats as a free agent and has been a key member of their defense. Pass was intended for Alphen. It was knocked away, and Winnipeg will be forced to send out the punting unit with 59 seconds remaining in the opening quarter.
And the Toaster, you see him coming up the middle. There's only 3 men rushing, so that means the nose tackle is going to get triple teamed. Only 3 people on that rush, 9 back defending against the pass. And hey, so far it's worked.
And one of the keys for Dunnigan in reading the Hamilton defense is to figure out where the Toaster is going to be.
And go the other way.
Scott Walker waits at midfield. Teams have had some success this year in blocking Bob Cameron's punts. Not a good kick by Cameron. Walker takes it at the 51. Walker finds a hole. And Bob Cameron makes the tackle with help from Andrew Martin. A 32-yard kick and a 22-yard return by Scott Walker. Scott?
Well, Don, you know, kickers are a different breed. Doesn't take much to upset their karma, so today we'll get an idea of just how steady Troy Westwood is. Looks normal enough here with the hood on, doesn't he? But yikes, watch this. This is what happened after the team's first place celebration of 2 weeks ago got out of hand. They took up a collection in the locker room, got $200 as an incentive for Troy to cut his hair. Mike Kelly, the bald offensive coordinator, cut it on the spot, and Troy didn't leave his bedroom until today.
Lee is tackled right at the line of scrimmage by Stan Nicholas. I asked Troy Westwood yesterday, I said, what do you call that haircut style? He said, stupid.
Well, he said he'd pay $1,000 if he had all his hair back.
He said the $200 he received from his teammates for getting his hair cut went for flowers and dinner for his girlfriend because she was really upset. 2nd and 9. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Into the end zone for Evrere. He's got it. Ken Evrere makes the touchdown catch. And the Hamilton Ticats are right back in the ball game.
What an important play. 2nd and long yardage. Ken Evrere double covered. Damon Allen had the time. He had good protection on that play. The motion showed. Damon Allen used motion to see that it was man-to-man coverage with the free safety. Wow, what a catch.
It was difficult to tell for a moment whether Evrere was able to hang on to the football, but indeed he did. And the Hamilton Ticats are right back in the ball game with Paul Osbaldiston adding the point after. The initial first down of the game for the Ticats on the final play of the opening quarter. A 28-yard touchdown toss to Ken Evrere, and it's a 4-point ball game as we prepare for the second quarter.
It's the Temple of Flight. Shrine of the enlightened basketball mind. Come, experience ball mastery. Meditate that.
But Master, what if we behave badly?
You go to Detroit.
This is a perfect place for a Cabernet Sauvignon to mature gracefully. The fine oak casks in the cellars of Ernest and Julio Gallo, two men who've spent their entire lives perfecting the art of winemaking. And this is the perfect place to enjoy the fruits of their labor, the rich, full-bodied Cabernet Sauvignon of Ernest and Julio Gallo. Come taste the work of a lifetime.
The cost of heart disease to our society is enormous, but we are making progress because of new medicines that help control the disease and reduce the need for surgery.
And the future looks even brighter, with almost 100 new heart medicines now being developed by brand-name pharmaceutical companies.
This is one of the best ways to reduce the great human and financial costs of disease.
Canada's brand-name pharmaceutical companies, bringing research to life.
One of the reasons Ken Evrere is up for the Outstanding Canadian Award against Ray Algard is catches such as he just pulled off in the end zone for the Hamilton touchdown. Bruce Plummer on the kickoff return brings it back to the 47-yard line. A 17-yard run back.
Well, last week we saw Evrere do all the key blocks for Lee Knight to catch the football. This time, you'll see on the right of your screen, Lee Knight got the key block on Booker. He put him down. That gave Damon Allen the time to get the ball to guess who? Evrere.
Excellent catch in the end zone by Ken Evrere. His mother is in hospital in Ottawa. He asked us to say hello to her, and I'm sure as she watches this afternoon, her recovery will be helped along by that touchdown catch. Richardson, the ball carrier, stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Good play by Lobo Zizakovic, the extra lineman in the lineup. He'll be coming out now because they'll be going into a passing defense with Henning, but Lobo did a good job stacking that up from Richardson.
Bob Vespasiani, who was added to the Bomber coaching staff when Cal Murphy went into hospital. On the sideline working with the defensive line, Matt Dunnigan got away from Bates. Now he's going to throw it deep for Rob Creefo. Caught by Thompson. It looked as though Creefo was going to be there to make the catch, and Thompson catches the football at the 6-yard line.
Well, Don, just throw it up. Somebody will go over there and catch it.
58 yards, Dunnigan to Thompson. Thompson came out of nowhere in behind Rob Creefo to make the catch.
Well, it was a fair catch, and Tim Jackson relaxed. He thought the football was going to be broken up. He just relaxed. And there's Thompson coming right in behind him.
The toss to Richardson. Richardson cuts back. Touchdown. So while the Ticats score a touchdown on the final play of the opening quarter, the Bombers strike back quickly in the second. A minute and 17 seconds into the second quarter, Richardson takes it into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day.
You talk about right angle cuts. That really spreads the defense, and when he finds a seam, he's up.
Roy Westwood adds the point after. 13:43, the time remaining in the second quarter. We'll be back with the Bomber kickoff after this.
Isn't it nice, oh isn't it nice to have a taste for life?
The adult world is designed to keep us moving. And while this may make us more efficient, it's not exactly a party. Luckily, technology has produced a cure. It's called a Game Boy, the personal game-playing system from Nintendo, with lots of sports, action, and puzzle games to choose from. And it comes with a puzzle game Tetris. It could change your outlook.
I'm sorry, sir. Your flight's been delayed.
Cool. Game Boy by Nintendo. Have you had your fun today?
We believe the last thing the world needs is another car. So we built one, the Nissan Altima. Because we knew words like performance and fuel economy could be spoken in the same breath. That a car could be big enough to be comfortable without being uncomfortably big. And because we're committed to taking responsibility for every car we build. The new Nissan Altima, built for the human race.
To the delight of the fans at Winnipeg Stadium, the Blue Bombers have regained their 11-point lead thanks to Larry Thompson. It was a case of Thompson adjusting his route when he saw Matt Dunnigan rolling to his right. He simply ran in behind Rob Crefo. Gerald Alphen was also in the same area, and somehow Larry Thompson snuck in behind Crefo and hauled in the pass.
Well, Urban Bowman had the playground punt return. That looked like a playground pass.
Nick Mazzoli on the kickoff return. He gets away from Brendan Rodgers. And an excellent return by Mazzoli as he gets it all the way back to the 48-yard line. A 36-yard run back. Scott?
Well, Don, the East Division All-Stars were named this week. The Bombers play 7 players on the team, only 1 on defense. Chris Walby was named for the 8th time in 9 years. Michael Richardson's choice was unanimous. Rod Hill was the only member of the defense to make it, and he blasted the voters. He did not think that was fair. Ticats plays 5 players, 2 on offense, Jason Riley and Ken Abraire, 3 on defense, including safety Todd Wiseman, who's really developed in the last 3 or 4 years.
Baker can't haul down Damon Allen. Winfield is open on the sidelines. He's got a first down. He was pushed out by Darrell Sampson. The Bomber defense felt slighted with only 1 All-Star selection. And they vowed to gain some measure of revenge today. They were inspired by the lack of selections to the defensive All-Star team.
Well, I think the Bomber defense didn't play well early in the year. And then when they started to become more aggressive, it looks like they got a lot of All-Stars right now, but that's not the way they played all year.
Remaining in the half. 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Greg Battle can't haul down Damon Allen. Allen gets to the outside, knocked out of bounds by Rod Hill. That will be close to another first down. A gain of 8 yards for Damon Allen. And this is something that Damon Allen provides to the Hamilton offense that Winnipeg will have to try and stop, is that scrambling ability.
Well, Damon Allen, with his mobility, can make things happen, usually out of something bad. You know, the last play he was pressured. This play he slipped, and both plays he came out with good gains.
2nd and 2 from the Winnipeg 36-yard line. Lee Knight, the ball carrier for a Hamilton first down to the 31-yard line. In the box in the visitors' side at Winnipeg Stadium, Roger Yacchetti, John Michaluk, and Joe Zuger. You'll recall their reaction last week in that come-from-behind effort by the Ticats at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Well, they know their team can do it, so that's what they're hoping for, to get down here, get a score. You're very much back in the ball game, and if you don't have the turnovers, hey, it's anybody's game.
I think Zuger and Yacchetti are keeping their distance from John Michaluk, who was pounding everybody every time the Ticats did something that worked. Winfield takes it out of bounds. This will be a gain of about 6 more. Rod Hill forces Winfield out.
Good patience by the Ticats. The Ticats know they got to get down and score. This is excellent patience. Damon Allen is just reading the defense, willing to come underneath the coverage. Knows he's in good field position, and that mobility of Damon Allen is what got them back into scoring position.
Winfield was rather quiet through the first half of last week's semifinal game against Ottawa, but boy, he exploded in the second half. Winfield in the end zone. Pass is overthrown. Rod Hill was back defending for Winnipeg.
And that was the play we had seen, that Lee Knight play going back to the outside. They get their running back down the sidelines. Damon Allen content to go for Winfield on that play with only 4 yards for a first down. I thought he'd dump it off to Lee Knight. Lee Knight was open for the first down.
Osbaldiston, who has already hit from 39 yards, will attempt a 32-yard field goal. It wide. Don Smith in the end zone will concede a single point. So with 11:08 remaining in the first half, it's a 10-point
game. Hello, I'm Gus Revenberg, here to tell you of our one-price selling policy. At Gus Revenberg Pontiac Buick GMC, we believe our customers shouldn't have to hassle and haggle to receive our lowest price. Every car, truck, and van carries our discounted price 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to rely on your negotiating skills to receive your best price.
The one-price selling policy at Gus Revenberg's.
To celebrate Canada's 125th birthday, the Royal Canadian Mint brings you a lasting tribute to Canada's beauty and heritage. New 25-cent pieces each month to use and collect in honor of every province and territory, plus a new dollar coin.
Now you can buy a specially struck souvenir set or the collector's proof edition. Call 1-800-267-1871 to order. Ask for Operator 2. Treasured gifts to last a lifetime from the Royal Canadian Mint.
That's it, Sandra. Keep your weight on both feet, and your hands favor the left side when you're addressing the ball. Tips like this are available and can help your game in the new Panasonic Golf Academy Dome, and it's just about ready to open. As a member, you will enjoy the benefits of computer-assisted teaching techniques, personal video lessons, and unlimited practice time. Join now and pay only $550, one-half the regular yearly fee, and your renewal fee at the same low price is guaranteed for 5 full years.
The dome is almost completed.
And once the doors open, this offer is closed.
Wherever you're looking in this afternoon on the CBC television network, we hope you're enjoying the action from Winnipeg Stadium and that you will be with us for the second half of our final Sunday doubleheader. Immediately following this game, we'll go to McMahon Stadium in Calgary as the Stampeders entertain the Edmonton Eskimos in the Western Final. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 21-11. They lead with 11 minutes remaining. In the second quarter, sideline pass to Grifo. Horace Irvin takes him out of bounds. Grifo, from the start of the season to now, has really developed as a receiver, Joe. One of the things he has learned to do, by his own admission, is run better patterns.
And it helps to be 6'6". He's an imposing target out there. And you know, the quarterbacks love to have a slot back that they can find in a crowd.
There's another fellow who isn't tough to find in a crowd. Jeff Fields, 305 pounds on him. He's a crowd all by himself. Richardson, the ball carrier, trying to get the first down, should have it.
There's Here's another example of Richardson and his ability to just make yards when there aren't any there. He was hit for a sizable loss, but he made 2 yards. Jeff Fields, a former soccer player. Look at that reaction. Chris Walby is trying to hold him up. Good shuffle and move to the outside. He's telling the referee, hey, did you see the guy holding me? He made a comment earlier. If they were to look up holding in the dictionary, they'd find a picture of Chris Walby and Miles Garrell.
Now, you're not suggesting that the 2 offensive tackles of the Bombers might be guilty of occasionally holding something.
I'm not suggesting it. I'm not big enough, but Jeff Fields is.
Rob Grifo is the injured player. It appears as though he may have been poked in the eye. Quite often, when the training staff go out to tend to an injured ball player, the first question they ask, where are we and what day is it?
Yeah,
they get a positive response, then they can start asking other questions.
If they're not within the week and within 100 miles, within 100 miles of their home stadium, then they start to worry. But when you're a receiver and you get poked in the eye, it really puts you on the defense because that ball's pointed. You got to be able to have some depth perception. One eye doesn't give you much depth perception, and try to catch a pointed object when you can't tell where it is.
Andrew Martin has replaced Grifo at slot back. Winnipeg 1st and 10. Hand off to Richardson. Richardson has a gain of about 6. The toaster was in on the stop. Grifo is obviously still having some problems with his right eye.
Well, they need him in there because he's an excellent blocker. And a big man like that really helps Richardson's running game.
Grifo must remain on the sidelines for at least 3 plays. Cornell product Andrew Martin in the ball game in his place. Dunnigan on the option, tosses to Richardson. First down, Winnipeg. A gain of 10 with Terry Wright making the stop.
And that option play, remember, that was a big play against the Toronto Argos when Winnipeg won the game in the last seconds of overtime. Richardson loves to carry the ball on the option, but he did take a good hit.
He almost lost control of the football as he went down, got the other hand in to cover up. Zizakovic is the injured Hamilton player. Richardson has already picked up 73 rushing yards. Scott?
Well, Don, I think everybody was surprised when Bomber head coach and general manager Cal Murphy arrived in town on Friday, and he got here as inconspicuously as possible so as not to detract from the game. But we'll make him conspicuous when he talks to us on Live at the Half about his comeback. We'll also go live to Calgary, where they're expecting real winter today, not pretend winter like we have here. And the Stamps and the Eskimos are all set for the West Division Final. We'll preview that game on Live at the Half.
It was a very emotional moment for Cal Murphy at the CFL Awards dinner on Friday night when he received a standing ovation from about 400 people, and as he went to the press box today, he got another standing ovation from the crowd at Winnipeg Stadium. 9:15 the time remaining in the first half. Zizakovic is the injured Hamilton player. He's number 98. Takes a hit from Miles Garrell. He had relaxed as he was coming over in pursuit of Richardson.
That's what
Winnipeg leads 21-11. We'll be back right after this.
On November 29th, something big is coming to CBC. It's fast breaking, but it's not the news. It's packed with talent, but it's not a variety show. It's emotionally charged, but it's not the Olympics. The Grey Cup, presented exclusively by CBC Sports, home of the champions.
Richardson just carrying again for Winnipeg with Jackson making the tackle. This is a pickup of about 5 yards.
I think we're going to see a lot of this now, Don, with Zizakovic out of there. You've got the 2 small linebackers on the outside. I think you'll see Richardson. They're going to feed him the ball until they can at least stop the run.
5 times this year, Richardson had games of 100 or more yards rushing. He's closing in on 100 yards in this first half. Richardson, the ball carrier. He'll be stopped after a pickup of about 1. One of the few times this afternoon that Hamilton has been able to stop him. Most of the year, the Ticats went with a 4-man front, but in the semifinal game against Ottawa, they made some adjustments, with Zizakovic coming in, throwing a 5-man front at the Ottawa Rough Riders, and they have been doing some of the same this afternoon.
Well, John Gregory has done a good job of adjusting to his opponents, and when they had so many passing opponents, then they went to the small defensive back type linebackers.
A 49-yard field goal attempt for Troy Westwood. It's wide. Todd Wiseman lets it bounce through the end zone for a single point. So with 7:51 remaining in the half, Winnipeg leads 22-11.
Some people know exactly what they want. Others don't have the slightest idea until they see it. Thankfully, we have a solution that works for both. Selection. At Sears, it still means something.
At Mazda, little things like precision map lights and an illuminated driver's door lock are just as important as sophisticated styling. Available V6 power and more headroom and total legroom than either Camry or Accord. The 93 Mazda 626 Kronos from $17,395, because we know you care about the little things too.
A healthy animal, shiny coat, good body weight, friendly disposition, getting a loan, having a bank see the potential of my business in times like these. $1 billion. We could use some of that. There you go. Who's next?
Some people know exactly what they want. Others don't have the slightest idea until they see it. Thankfully, we have a solution that works for both. Selection. At Sears, it still means something.
After Don McPherson's late success last week against Ottawa, some Hamilton football fans felt that John Gregory should start McPherson today against Winnipeg. Yesterday, Gregory said, "Ask me why I'm starting Damon Allen." I said, "Why?" He said, "First of all, we're 11-7 with Damon. He has played well all year against Winnipeg, and he has tremendous experience." He said, "There's no question about who my starting quarterback would be in this game."
He really credits Damon Allen with the turnaround of the Hamilton Ticats. And if John Gregory will tell you that, then he means it, because he's a career coach. This guy has coached on every level of football. And you know, when that hair starts to get a little gray, they know they've seen a lot of football games.
Gregory obviously felt that Winfield was interfered with by Rod Hill.
So do I.
And he may have a point. Second and 10, Hamilton. Baker comes from the outside. Allen saw it. He goes the other way. He's being chased by James West and forced out of bounds by James West, short of a first down.
Well, James West has played a lot of football for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The guy is 34 years old, and he still has the feet of a youngster. I mean, he took Damon Allen at the angle. He didn't have a great angle, but he took all the way that first down.
James West, by the way, asked us, if you're watching this afternoon, Dan Kepley, to say hello and wish you a speedy recovery. And we echo those sentiments. Plummer is back for the third down punt by Paul Osbaldiston. Hangs up in the wind and bounces back towards the line of scrimmage before going out of bounds. 6:57 remaining in the half. That was only a 17-yard kick. Scott?
Well, Don, the Hamilton defense in its efforts to shut down the Winnipeg running game has dodged a bullet, and that Zizakovic has been declared fit, and he's gone back onto the field. Took a helmet in the back. He's a bit bruised, but as we've discussed the issue, they can't afford to lose him because they want to play a five-man front on several occasions to try and shut down Michael Richardson and shut him down more than they have so far.
And John Gregory has predicted a brilliant CFL career for Lubo Zizakovic. Richardson in contention for the Rookie Award against Bruce Covington of the Calgary Stampeders. Picks up about 3 yards. It will be 2nd and 7, Winnipeg.
No secret about what they're doing. John Moulton is the guy that's to take away Richardson on the cutbacks, and he did a whale of a job that time. He just took him chest on chest and put him down. There's Danny McManus, and you know he's got to be anxious to get in the ball game. He had a great last 4 ball games that he played.
McManus just happy to be here today. He was involved in an automobile accident on Tuesday. Missed a day of practice, but has been ruled okay. It was intended for Pillow. He points at Terry Wright, claiming he was interfered with, but there was no penalty flag. I guess turnabout is fair play. Hamilton thought a flag should have been thrown against Rod Hill on Earl Winfield. Pillow felt one should have been thrown on Terry Wright, but in both cases, there was no red nylon on the turf.
You know, they very rarely call it unless you use your hands. And neither one of those defenders had their hands on somebody. They hit him with their body, but they didn't hit him with their hands. Is that in the rule book?
This time there are 2 receivers back for the 3rd down punt by Bob Cameron. Walker loses it at the 20. And Hamilton has recovered. Oh, a wild scramble for the football, and that could have really put the Hamilton Ticats in a difficult position had Winnipeg recovered.
I know it's not the sun. The sun is not in their eyes.
Apparently Richard Nurse recovered the ball.
Don't take a peek. You know what happened? He looked up to see where that coverage was. Sometimes that no yards rule has a tendency for that returner to see if there's anybody within the no yards and try to bait them. You better look at the football first.
5:34 remaining in the first half. 1st and 10. The Ticats at their own 14-yard line. Lee inside. This is where the Ticats, I think, are going to have some problems, Joe. They really don't have a solid ground game without John Hood in the lineup.
Yeah, and when they run the football, they haven't really done it to dominate a ball game. They just do it to change up off their passing attack. So they're not an established running team other than when Hood was playing.
Winfield comes wide to the right. Hill goes left. 2nd and 9. Allen for Winfield. He makes the catch. He got away from Rod Hill. Greg Battle comes over to make the tackle. A big 2nd down conversion for the Ticats.
Coaches will tell you, when you're backed up and you get out of there, you get in decent field position. Now there's so many more plays that you can use. So this was a critical play and well executed by Damon Allen. Just a hook pattern. Now remember last week, those running backs were catching all the balls. But that is a key play. That got him out in good field position. Mikolas almost blocks this pass. He might have got a piece of it.
An 18-yard gain. Mazzoli in for Hamilton. Nurse is out, and down goes Damon Allen, tripped up by James West.
Well, there he goes again. And you know there's nobody that talks more than James West. And you should have heard him yesterday at the press conference. He was telling us what he was going to get done, and by golly, he's doing it. Great athletic ability. I think he's getting bigger and better with age.
You know, people thought that James West might consider packing it in a couple of years ago. He has intentions of returning next year to the Winnipeg Blue Bomber lineup.
I believe he can do it.
He's in pursuit of Damon Allen and has got him again.
Good job by West. He's just persistent in his pass rush, and then he uses his athletic ability to catch Damon Allen. And you got to wonder why Allen isn't getting outside quicker. He's got to be able to get that corner, or he'll get caught from the backside by James West and a guy named Baker.
3:24 remaining in the half. Penalty flag in the play. Plummer is back for this third down punt. This time he fields it cleanly. John Zidell was there to make contact with him at the Hamilton 52-yard line, an 8-yard run back after a 35-yard kick. It might be offside Winnipeg.
Yeah, they moved. But after 2 sacks, it doesn't give them any better field position.
And John Gregory, as you see, is indicating decline the penalty.
Offside. Winnipeg number 62. Decline. First.
That wind must have more of an effect than we think it does, because those goalpost streamers are just standing straight up. So Osbaldiston had a little trouble with the wind.
First and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 52 of the Hamilton Ticats. Winnipeg leads 22-11. 3:07 the time remaining with the clock running in the first half. Dunnigan runs the option, carries, close to a first down. It's a pretty good weapon, that option play, when you have a back like Richardson rolling out with you. We'll be back after this.
No substitute for planning.
Oh, you know, you sound just like Dad.
Thanks for the compliment. Is there anything wrong?
No. Well, investments could be a little bit better.
Really? I thought you were into mutual funds.
I am, but you know.
Does your company give you a wide range to choose from?
No, not really.
Hey, you're not paying commissions, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
What?
Well, do they help you find the right funds at the right time?
Oh, come on. Who does all that?
Royal Trust. They've been doing it for me for years. I could start doing it for you.
Yeah?
Yeah. Excuse me, you want to pick up the pace a little bit?
Excuse me, I'm planning.
Rocket fuel. If you see your name, call now to win $1,000 playing Rocket Fuel Touchdown.
It's the festive season, and once again, Swiss Chalet is bringing you a special tradition, our festive special for only $6.45. Along with a plump quarter chicken, golden fries, or baked potato and chalet sauce, you'll also receive cranberry sauce, tasty stuffing, and a festive treat, a 100-gram Toblerone Swiss chocolate bar, all for $6.45 while supplies last. It's our way of wrapping up our thanks to you. The festive special, only $6.45.
On the last play, Matt Dunnigan was stopped just inches short of a first down. The first time this afternoon that anyone other than Richardson has carried the football for Winnipeg. Joe, might this be a good time to go for the bundle?
Well, second down.
Second and inches. No, Dunnigan's going to keep, and he'll get the first down inside the 40-yard line.
Well, we forgot to have the commando quarterback in there. He'd like to do it single-handedly. He loves to carry the football, and with all of the injuries he's had this year, it was interesting to see him come out on the option play and say, hey, I'll take the ball.
Coach Urban Bowman was saying all week Dunnigan has been primed and ready for this game. He was hoping, however, that Dunnigan wouldn't be too high, which he sometimes has a tendency to do.
I think if there's ever a criticism of Matt Dunnigan, it's that he's too intense.
And off to Richardson, and Richardson will get 5. He continues driving, and he'll get more than 5. Very close to a first down.
And he got a little help in there. I think a few of those offensive linemen came in and gave him a shove forward.
Usually they're in front of him. This time, a couple were behind him.
And that certainly couldn't be called a quick whistle. Yeah, Van Konen gave him a little pull and an arm drag to get him past. But look at Miles Gurrell come in and finish it off.
John Moten was attempting to strip the ball from Richardson in making the tackle. Richardson today has already run for 90 yards. Hamilton's ground game has accounted for just 38 yards. And if John Moten is out of this ball game for any length of time, this could really be a blow for the Hamilton Ticats.
Now, the Ticats really need him, and Peter Giftopoulos hasn't been able to play the last 2 weeks.
Immediately following this game, we will, of course, be switching to the Western Final at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Just a few minutes ago, Doug Flutie arrived at the park, and Doug Flutie would like to have a dual purpose for his trip to Toronto next week. He's going there as a contender for the Outstanding Player Award, but he would also like to make the trip to Toronto as the quarterback of the Western champion Calgary Stampeders.
That may be the slowest you see him move all day. As you talk about mobility at quarterback, he wrote the book.
But if the weather does come up bad at McMahon Stadium, it could be a problem for Flutie.
Flutie didn't have a very good game here in Winnipeg Stadium when they had a gusting wind. And some people criticize him for his lack of physical stature. He's not a big man, and they say against the wind, he doesn't have the velocity on the football. But he's a winner, and so far, they've only had one windy day, or at least one day windy enough to affect him. I don't think the wind will have much to do with Blake Marshall and Michael Souls in their running attack.
That was a 17-16 Winnipeg victory back in the 27th of September. And the wind was really howling that afternoon, and the Stampeders and Flutie had difficulties with it. That was another solid running performance by Michael Richardson. He had 193 yards that day against Calgary. So when you come to bad weather and you've got to back the likes of Richardson, I think you have a slight advantage. There's concern at the bench, and there's concern upstairs as Joe Zuger looks on, and even more so now as John Moten will have to be assisted to the sidelines. 2:19 is the time remaining. Winnipeg leads 22-11.
On November 29th, something big is coming to CBC. It's fast breaking, but it's not the news. It's packed with talent, but it's not a variety show. It's emotionally charged, but it's not the Olympics. The Grey Cup, presented exclusively by CBC Sports, home of the champions.
John Moten is the key man in the Hamilton defensive set. He plays that middle linebacking position just about as well as anybody in the CFL. This year, he led the Ticats in tackles with 95.
And it looks like his ankle got cut underneath that man slide. You know, of a landslide, well, this is a man slide, and Miles Burrell on top of that pile to the right of your screen, 320-some pounds. All of that landed on Moten's ankle.
Moten, making the tackle on Richardson, was attempting to strip the ball from him, and the Winnipeg offensive lineman came up from behind and began pushing, and in the pileup, they all went down. John Vunk, a former star with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a dozen years, now an assistant coach with Hamilton, explaining to John Gregory what adjustments they may now have to make.
Peter Giftopoulos, the Penn State linebacker, he's in the middle. That's the first time he's seen action now in 2 weeks.
2nd and 1 Winnipeg as John Moten is driven off to the Hamilton dressing room. Dunnigan swings it out to Richardson. He'll get a first down as he carries to the 22. Peter Giftopoulos, who has replaced John Moten, came across to push Richardson out of bounds.
Looked like an audible at the line of scrimmage. I think Dunnigan realizes how important this drive will be. They've got to come out of this with some points to go into the locker room at halftime with a commanding lead. That Richardson is a good runner. He's got that north-south feel. He always goes in the direction of the goal line.
1st and 10 Winnipeg from the 22. The toss to Richardson. Richardson takes it to the outside, and he picks up about 7 yards. I don't think we're going to see John Moten not only for the rest of this game, but should the Ticats prevail next Sunday at the Sky Dome for the Grey Cup game. He appears to be in a tremendous amount of pain as he is assisted into the Hamilton dressing room.
And people downplay the importance of linebackers, but the middle linebacker is like your quarterback on defense. He not only has to be a good physical ball player, he's got to call defenses.
Barry Thompson comes wide to the left, Pillow to the right. 2nd and 3, Winnipeg. Richardson again. He'll be close to a first down. He had to get to about the 12. Jeff Fields stopped Michael Richardson from going any further. We're going to call for a measurement with 1:58 remaining in the half. Winnipeg leading 22-11. If they can cap this drive by punching it into the end zone, it's going to be a tremendous uphill struggle for the Ticats in the second half. And Richardson now has 100 rushing yards.
And we haven't seen a half yet, so that's quite an accomplishment early in this game against a tough defense.
But Winnipeg, in checking last week's video of the semifinal win, Hamilton over Ottawa, saw Reggie Barnes run for better than 100 yards, and they felt Richardson was equal to that. He may very well be. Richardson to about the 7-yard line, stopped by Bates.
Terry Wright had him dead on, but Richardson put a good move on him and then cut back to the inside. So they continue to surge down the field. That's a good move by Richardson back to the inside. He's got that ability to cut at right angles.
2nd and 5, Winnipeg. Hudson, touchdown! I think that may have been a case of the Hamilton defense expecting Richardson again, and they give it to Warren Hudson, as they so often do, down close, and he scores the Winnipeg touchdown that gives them a 28-11 lead and brings a smile to the face of Cal Murphy.
They call that play the triple option, that whole series, because it can either be the fullback carrying the ball, it can be the quarterback carrying the football, or he could pitch it out. Well, this time, for the first time, they did give it to the fullback on that counter action, and this is a big man. And watch him do the nose spike, his patent spike.
So Warren Hudson with the touchdown, Troy Westwood with the convert. It's 29-11 Winnipeg in the Eastern Final with 1:22 remaining in the first half. Warren Hudson started that face plant spike that you referred to when he scored his first touchdown. He stumbled as he got to the end zone and landed on his face. So he decided that that would be what he would do each time after he scored a touchdown. He would land on the turf on his face mask.
You know, it's interesting. All these great athletes that play football and all the good things they do on the field, they usually get some notoriety for what they did wrong. A guy named Kevin Konar, one of the best linebackers to ever play in this league, had a nickname because he fell when he tried to spike the ball, so they started calling him Spike Konar.
Mazzoli and Walker are back for Troy Westwood's kickoff. It gets away from Mazzoli, and he'll down it for a single point. An 87-yard kickoff single for Troy Westwood. Winnipeg leads 30-11. Well, last week the Ticats against Ottawa late in the fourth quarter came back with 15 points, or erased, I should say, a 15-point deficit. They scored 16, but they're looking at a 19-point spread right now. Damon Allen directing the team, 1st and 10 from the 35.
And that Winnipeg drive was the first drive they really had without the advantage of a turnover. They earned that drive. They took it all the way down the field and did it the hard way.
Damon Allen has been in trouble all day. Michael Gray is the man who gets him this time.
Damon Allen.
While Osbaldiston has had more pleasant moments in the Canadian Football League than he is enjoying so far today. For example, a 46-yard field goal with 11 seconds remaining and a 29-28 semifinal win for the Ticats over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Damon Allen has been sacked 6 times this afternoon by that very angry Winnipeg defense. Down he goes again. Sack number 7. Booker and Randolph and Lorenza Baker will get credit for it.
Well, you see 2 things out there. The deep coverage has been excellent for Winnipeg. And because of that, Damon hasn't really tried to throw the ball in the intermediate zone. And he doesn't have time to get it deep. He's got 2 seconds. He better throw the football or they're going to eat him alive. And you might want to see him sprint out more often, Don.
Michael Richardson is a rookie this year with the Bombers. They've got 2 other fine rookies defensively. Lorenza Baker at a linebacking spot and Vaughn Booker at a defensive end position. Osbaldiston's 3rd down punt for Bruce Plummer at the 50. He loses the ball. Hamilton claim they've got it, but it appears to be still loose. Winnipeg recovers. Chris Sangaris recovers the football. There's a penalty flag on the play. And I think an unsportsmanlike conduct call is going to go against the Ticats.
Worst time of all to get a penalty when you've just turned the ball over in bad position.
Objectionable conduct. Hamilton bench. First down.
That's just pure frustration. But Sangaris was the guy who you got to give a lot of credit. He was heads up. It looked like the ball was recovered. But Sangaris kept after the football, kept scrambling for it. Look what he does. He comes up with it.
Handoff inside to Richardson. His 3rd touchdown of the day. Three yards for Mike Richardson as he fought off a couple of would-be tacklers, got away from Todd Wiseman from Giftopoulos, and he went into the end zone, escorted by Larry Thompson for his 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. Look at that statistic. 128 rushing yards already for Michael Richardson with the point after. It's now 37-11, Winnipeg running away with this Eastern Final.
And Richardson did it with the full help of his team. He had a great opening when he took the ball, and then his teammates came downfield and they kept springing him loose with some key blocks. But this guy, everybody knows that he's the marked man. He's the guy you have to key on. 128 yards in the first half.
Still 29 seconds remaining in the opening half. It's not likely that Richardson will get a chance to add to his rushing totals as Winnipeg will be kicking off. Fans aren't fashion conscious at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon. They're more concerned with keeping warm. Actually, with a temperature of -1 and the wind not that big a factor, it's a fairly pleasant November football afternoon.
And all you have to do is keep moving and you stay warm. Everybody likes to get into that dance. That keeps them warm.
And with 37 points on the board, Winnipeg fans have been moving in the stands at the stadium today. Nick Mazzoli on the kickoff return for Hamilton. He's stopped on the first contact by Brendan Rogers. Andrew Thomas came in to finish the job after a 21-yard run back. Rogers has been a key man all year for the Bombers on special teams. He's matched his uniform number with special team tackles.
And you've got to give those guys a lot of credit. It has so much to do with field position. When you get people playing like Brendan Rogers does on these special teams, you start out in good field position at all times. Hey, and it doesn't hurt to have a great running back like Richardson.
Richardson this afternoon has already equaled his rushing touchdown totals through 11 regular season games. He's got 3. Damon Allen flushed out of the pocket, stopped after a gain of 8 yards at the 40.
Well, we've seen Damon come upfield, but we really haven't seen him get outside. He doesn't seem to be able to get the corner on those tough linebackers of Winnipeg. And because they send linebackers from every angle, you would expect him to do some more rollouts and get out on the corner.
This could be the final play of the first half, and the Ticats would like to get back into the dressing room and try and regroup for the second half of this Eastern Final. Lee, the ball carrier, he's stopped. He does pick up a first down, but it really doesn't mean much because the half comes to an end with Winnipeg totally in control.
A healthy animal, shiny coat, good body weight, friendly disposition, getting a loan, having a bank see the potential of my business in times like these. $1 billion. We could use some of that. There you go. Who's next?
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Hi.
I did some number crunching last night. Guess how much of our business comes from out of town?
30%.
Try 48.
Oh.
And I looked at our long distance bill.
Oh?
Guess what we're spending? When did we start saving this much?
Since Bell looked at our long-distance calling and recommended a savings plan months ago.
With Bell, you get more than long-distance savings. Good price and reliable service. Today, that's real value.
Guess how much this bill is?
$14.50.
Right. Gotta go.
Long-distance business sense from Bell. Call us.
People who need people.
People's Italian gold chain collection. Drama and elegance combine in our two-tone herringbone chain. Diamond cut for added shimmer. Paint the season gold and enjoy the freedom to defer payment till March 93 on your People's card.
Are the luckiest people in the...
People's Jewelers for people who love people.
We're back at Winnipeg Stadium for Live at the Half. A lot of people have been glancing up here at the press box today to see if Cal Murphy looks as good as reports say he does. The head coach and general manager of the Bombers is back in town for the first time since undergoing his heart transplant operation in July in London, Ontario. He slipped into Winnipeg on Friday in time for the East Division Awards dinner. Ken Abrere accepted the award as the Outstanding Canadian in the East. He talked about a comeback, saying he almost quit football last season. Winnipeg running back Michael Richardson, what a whale of a first half today, talked about a comeback from the series of fumbles that plagued him earlier in the season, but neither comeback rates with Cal Murphy's. He got his new heart in the nick of time, and then he overcame a serious virus a few weeks back, and when he walked into the room on Friday, he lit it up. Well, Cal, there's no question you do look good. How good does Winnipeg look to you?
Pretty good, I'll tell you, especially after the length of time being away, and it was really traumatic coming back, believe me.
You're still the head coach and general manager of this football team, and as you sit here now, there's nothing to suggest that you cannot return to work. Do you intend to?
I fully intend to come to return to work, and I said before that I had the disease cut out, and the doctors have said the same thing, and there's no reason why I can't do what I did before, and I fully intend to do it.
Is your intention then at this point to return to both coach and general managing duties at the start of next season?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's my intentions, and I think before I go any further, let's get this season over with first.
I don't want to ask you to delve into the topic of expansion because you've made your thoughts known about that. You're on the record in no uncertain terms with how you feel about it, but I do want to ask you if you've been busy working the the phones, making your feelings known?
Well, I think it's safe to say there has been time spent on the phones, and believe me, I think it's very important, and I will continue to work on it.
There are medical tests that would tell us that you're recovering, but I don't need to look at any of those because I've heard a few rants from London, and that suggests you're getting better.
Well, you know, I think it's important that the other side be heard, because I don't think it's an open and shut case. I think there's a lot of things that have to be discussed. Finances, they can talk all they want about Canadianism, and yes, it bothers me, but the most important aspect is you better start looking at the financial aspect of it.
Cal, before we run out of time, I know you do want to say a few words about Mount St. Joseph, the place that you and Joyce have been staying during your recuperation in London, Ontario.
Well, they do a tremendous service. Believe me, the Sisters of St. Joseph of London, they provide the service for not only for spouses, but also for people who are waiting for transplants or operations, and it's tremendous service, and it's really been a tremendous help to Joyce especially.
Could I just say that the sisters, if they weren't already, are guaranteed safe passage to heaven after putting up with you for 4 or 5 months?
You should know that.
All right, Cal, good to see you again. You're the best-looking 162 pounds in Winnipeg Stadium. Stay with us, everybody. When Live at the Half returns, we'll go live to McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Over the years, we've seen trends change, opinions change, the whole world change. But we've also seen a few things that haven't changed. Value. At Sears, it still means something.
It's hot. It's spicy. It sizzles. It's the new hot-looking, hot-blooded Ford Ranger. The 1993 Ford Ranger is the hottest thing to hit Canada since the Chili Pepper.
Ford trucks, the best ever ran.
Ranger, the best-selling compact pickup in Canada.
Everyone assumes they'll find great prices at a sale. But how often can you bet on finding great products? Maybe now's a good time to start. Sale. At Sears, it still means something.
Leon's Edition, take 4. Ho, ho, ho. Next.
It's Leon's Ho, Ho, Hold the Payment.
Ho, ho, ho. Next.
Get the furniture you need for the holidays with no interest and no payment till June.
Ho, ho, ho. Yes. No.
Leon's Ho, Ho, Hold the Payment. No matter how you say it,
Yo, yo, yo.
it's just a better way to buy furniture.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Thanks a lot. Ho, ho. We'll be in touch. Ho, ho, ho. Really.
Windsor Mazda invites you to come test drive a new Mazda today. There's the award-winning Mazda minivan, the sensational Miata Roadster, the roomy Protege, or the luxurious 929 Serenia. Sporty? How about the MX-3 Presidia and the all-new 1993 RX-7? Windsor Mazda adds to this great lineup with the new 1993 MX-6 Mystère and 626 Corona sedan. Come see the lineup today at Windsor Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right.
Ticats were the only team to beat the Bombers in Winnipeg this season. In late November, though, it's a much bigger affair, and the Bombers have the lead. And so we're halfway through one decision on one Grey Cup team. The other to be made later this afternoon at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Eskimos take on the Stampeders in the West Division Final. As we've said, we'll go there as soon as we're done here in Winnipeg, but let's go to Calgary now for a preview of the Battle of Alberta. The Calgary Stampeders are hungry because they haven't won the Grey Cup since 1971. The only thing that bothers Calgary fans more than the drought is that the rival Eskimos have won the Cup 7 times since then. A ticket to a Calgary-Edmonton game is often the best buy in the CFL. These are truly bitter rivals. Last year, Pee Wee Smith sent the Stamps on their way to victory and to the Grey Cup game. The Eskimos had finished first, and it was the 5th straight year the host team had lost the division final. The Stampeders were first this year, and they're banking on Doug Flutie to reverse the trend. The Eskimos hope that Tracy Ham can continue it. An appearance in the Grey Cup game awaits today's winner, and so, Mark, the stakes are as high as ever in this rivalry.
Indeed, Scott, there are few rivalries as intense as the Stampeders versus the Eskimos, and they are together again for the third year in a row in the Western Final. Kent Austin will be our analyst today. Kent jetting in late last night from Tennessee, coming off the bench, so to speak, for our dear friend and colleague Dan Kepley, who is recovering from surgery in hospital. And I guess, Kent, you'd rather be here under other circumstances.
Well, absolutely, but we had an unfortunate mishap with Dave Ridgway slipping on our last attempt at a field goal, and instead we're here watching instead of playing.
Let's talk about the weather. It's going to be a big factor today. The wind chill out there right now is -20. The winds gusting as high as 63 kilometers per hour, and we're expecting heavy snow by kickoff. Kent, what does that do to a football game?
Well, I know from a quarterback perspective, the cold weather hurts your grip on the ball, and of course the wind affects the ball when it's in the air. So it hurts the passing team when it does a running team, and I think it'll affect Calgary more than Edmonton.
Okay, with that in mind, let's talk about its effect on Doug Flutie. Some say he is a fair weather quarterback. What do you think?
No, I don't buy that. I think Doug's a great quarterback under all conditions, and I think he can beat you in any given circumstances and weather conditions. There you see him warming up. That's probably a bad side for Edmonton because he's getting his legs loosened up to run the ball, I'm sure.
And Tracy Ham has looked awfully good the last 2 weeks after coming off the separated shoulder, hasn't he?
He played an excellent second half against us last week, and those 3 interceptions, I think, were all in the first half, and I think Tracy, though, is going to have to throw the ball effectively today to beat Calgary.
Okay, Kent, we'll look forward to your coverage of this Western Final along with Chris Cuthbert coming your way about an hour and a half from now. Scott?
Okay, Mark, and we look forward to any meeting of the Stampeders and Eskimos, but especially this one. And Don, 30 minutes to go here in Winnipeg, and the Ticats, among other things, seems that they just can't stop that Winnipeg running game.
Well, Scott, they had problems with Michael Richardson the 2 times Richardson played against Hamilton earlier this year, and they're having tremendous difficulty in trying to stop Richardson. 128 yards running for Richardson in the first half.
Well, they're controlling people up front. And the play of the half, I think, was when they came back into the ball game after that short punt, and then they recovered it. Richardson gets the ball on a draw play, but watch what happens. David Black comes in and makes a key block right there to spring Richardson loose, and he's all the way in for a big commanding lead.
And for Michael Richardson, that was his 3rd touchdown of the half, and as you said, a commanding lead, 37-11, Winnipeg in front. What might we see from Hamilton in the second half? Don McPherson, maybe?
I think we could see McPherson because he's more mobile, and they'll try to get him outside on the corner. They just can't handle those linebackers, and I think this might be a good move, is to do more sprint outs, more rollouts on the Hamilton side of the ball.
Hamilton's offensive line is having a lot of problems, particularly with James West.
Well, James West, we know what he can do. And they've got some good people on the other side in Baker, and I think that just turns it right back into James West.
Winnipeg's offensive line is dominating. Hamilton's offensive line is having difficulties. 37-11 is the score at halftime here at Winnipeg Stadium.
Toyota trucks. It doesn't get any better than this, but it does get bigger. Introducing the Toyota T100 with a bigger cab so it comfortably seats 3 adults and a bigger bed so it easily carries a full 4x8 payload. The Toyota T100, the biggest import truck in Canada. Now you get to choose between better and bigger and better. Toyota trucks. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Leon's Additions, take 6. Ho, ho, ho. Thank you.
It's Leon's Ho Ho Hold the Payment.
Ho, 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 ho.
Get the furniture you need for the holidays with no interest and no payment till June.
Ho, ho, ho. Right.
Leon's Ho Ho Hold the Payment. No matter how you say it, it's just a better way to buy furniture.
Is this for the beer commercial?
Yes. Yes, it is.
To celebrate Canada's 125th birthday, the Royal Canadian Mint brings you a lasting tribute to Canada's beauty and heritage. New 25-cent pieces each month to use and collect in honor of every province and territory, plus a new dollar coin.
Now you can buy a specially struck souvenir set or the collector's proof edition. Call 1-800-267-1871 to order. Ask for Operator 2. Treasured gifts to last a lifetime from the Royal Canadian Mint.
Canada's new gun control law includes an amnesty in November. This means you can turn in illegal, neglected, or unwanted firearms to the police legally. Too often neglected and forgotten guns can lead to mishaps. Believe me, I know. It almost happened to us. Don't let it happen to you. Let's get these firearms out of circulation. Why risk a tragedy?
Call your local police for information. They're there to help.
Don McPherson was warming up at the Hamilton bench, but Damon Allen was also keeping his throwing arm loose. McPherson has not yet removed the jacket, so it's quite possible John Gregory will stay with Damon Allen at quarterback. But for the moment, he does not have to make that decision because the Hamilton Ticats will kick off to Winnipeg to start the third quarter. Plummer and Baker are back for the opening kickoff, and it's taken by Plummer, and Plummer comes up the left side and brings it back to the 47-yard line. Winnipeg, again with good field position. There's a late penalty flag. A 48-yard kickoff, a 20-yard return, as you might expect in a 37-11 game. Winnipeg is totally dominating statistically.
Well, the running is what's impressive. They have 148 yards rushing. Actually, they've only had 2 long passes that constitutes their whole passing game.
Unnecessary roughness tacked on against the Hamilton Ticats on the kickoff return by Plummer.
Thank you.
And that puts the ball at the Hamilton 48-yard line. 1st and 10, Winnipeg. Richardson picks up about 6 more. They just can't stop Richardson this afternoon.
Well, they've tried everything. They've tried to 5 down linemen. Of course, John Moulton being injured doesn't help because you got to think that Giftopoulos isn't at 100%.
As taking a key man out of the middle certainly doesn't help in any attempts to stop Michael Richardson's running game. 2nd and 4, Winnipeg. Dunnigan has only put the ball in the air 12 times this afternoon. He'll try again. Rob Crepo is open. Knocked down by Todd Wiseman at the 18. 23 yards, Dunnigan to Crepo.
Now, normally you see that post corner. You see the throw being dropped into it. Crepo breaks out on that post corner, and Dunnigan throws a clothesline. I mean, he threw a bullet out there.
Winnipeg 1st and 10, the ball between the 19 and 18-yard lines. The Bombers leading by 26, threatening early to add to that advantage. Richardson picks up about 3 before being hauled down. Actually, it will be a 2-yard gain. Henning and Giftopoulos came over to make the tackle. Richardson had 197 yards in his first game against Hamilton back in August. He had a 193-yard game against Calgary. 179 yards against Toronto, 161 yards against BC.
Yeah, and he has only played, you know, two-thirds of the season.
11 games to be exact. There was criticism when the Bombers dropped Robert Mims, the leading rusher in the CFL for the previous 2 years, in favor of Richardson. End zone pass. It was intended for Alf and incomplete. Jackson and Wilkerson had both dropped back to cover the Winnipeg slot back. Urban Bowman, not last week, 2 weeks ago in the final game of the regular season, made the decision to help Matt Dunnigan with his play selection. He said Dunnigan can audible out of a call, but when he comes to the bench, he better have a pretty valid reason of why he did it.
And he's got people in the box. He's got spotters up here. He's got full-time coaches working on those plays.
Troy Westwood's field goal puts Winnipeg in front 40-11 with 12:42 remaining in the third quarter.
Canada's new gun control law includes an amnesty in November. This means you can turn in illegal, neglected, or unwanted firearms to the police legally. Too often, neglected and forgotten guns can lead to mishaps. Believe me, I know. It almost happened to us. Don't let it happen to you. Let's get these firearms out of circulation. Why risk a tragedy?
Call your local police for information. They're there to help.
Windsor Mazda invites you to come test drive a new Mazda today. There's the award-winning Mazda minivan, the sensational Miata Roadster, the roomy Protege, or the luxurious 929 Serenia. Sporty? How about the MX-3 Presidia and the all-new 1993 RX-7? Windsor Mazda adds to this great lineup with the new 1993 MX-6 Mystère and 626 Corona sedan. Come see the lineup today at Windsor Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right.
Does the light in this refrigerator actually stay on after the door's been closed? No, certainly not. Unless, of course, someone has forgotten to turn it off. Ray Patow's Lighting Boutique, a surprising selection of lighting for an appliance store, and vice versa.
Faithful are gathered at the Cops Convention Center. We understand about 2,000 are watching the game on big screen television. Unfortunately, it hasn't been as happy an afternoon, so far at least, as it was last Sunday in the semifinal win, 29-28 over Ottawa. Damon Allen continues at quarterback. He throws to Winfield. Winfield working against Rod Hill, and Rod Hill stayed right with him. Winfield goes out of bounds with a gain of 7.
And you did say 2,000 people? That's quite a party.
It would be a much better party if the score was reversed for those watching on the big screen in Hamilton. It would be a much more pleasant afternoon for John Gregory if the score was even a little bit closer. Lee Knight will try and reduce Winnipeg's 29-point edge. He's taken out of bounds by middle linebacker Greg Battle. First time they've gone to Lee Knight this afternoon. He was such a key man in Hamilton's success last week over Ottawa.
And that short side passing attack, they seem to be content to go deep all the time today, whereas they had that success with Lee Knight last week.
1st and 10, Hamilton, the ball at the 52. Here comes Lorenzo Baker from the backside, and down goes Damon Allen. He was forced to step up, and waiting for him was Vaughn Booker.
Booker is a very quick defensive lineman, and when he takes that inside move and the linebacker's coming from the outside, hey, Damon Allen doesn't have anywhere to go. He's got to step up because Baker's right on him. Booker did the cleanup.
Urban Bowman was saying, we'll mix up our defense. We'll pick our times when to attack. We want to keep them off balance, and there's no question Winnipeg has done that to Hamilton this afternoon. 2nd and 15. Dumped over the middle to Lee Knight. He's got some blocking help. He'll get a first down.
Well, there's a good call. They've been getting pressure all day. This is the first screen pass that they've thrown, and you saw the success they've had with it. But if Urban Bowman said he's going to mix up his times when he puts pressure on them, it doesn't seem like he's mixed it up. It's pressure every play.
Well, this game is certainly not like the 4 regular season meetings between the two of which went into overtime. One was decided by a single point, the other by 9 points. Knight, the ball carrier, for a pickup of about 4 yards.
Hamilton has got to get a quick touchdown. They seem to be content to run the football, throw a few short passes, but what they really need to do now that they're in good field position, let's get one in the end zone, make this a ball game.
2nd and 6. Lonzel Hill goes wide to the left. Winfield lines up right. Winfield the target. He gets away from Rod Hill. He's got a first down and more as he takes the ball to the 25-yard line. Forced out by Baker.
Many people thought the key to this ball game would be Rod Hill versus Winfield. And Rod Hill having a little trouble mid-season with an ankle injury. He came up on Winfield, and Winfield's just a fine athlete. He scored one game. He scored on a kickoff return, a punt return, and a reception. Scored 3 different touchdowns, 3 different ways.
Rod Hill playing this afternoon with a broken bone in his left foot, lined up against Winfield, who has 5 receptions for 66 yards. Dumped off to Orville Lee. Lee gets away from 1 and carries inside the 20 to the 18. Smith came in to make the tackle.
Good decision by Damon Allen. He saw that Lee was open, and rather than scramble, he got it out to his running back, who runs the football for a living.
Well, Joe, you were present earlier this year, Thanksgiving Monday, when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had a big lead in the Ottawa Rough Riders and then had to hang on for a 49-47 win. Is Hamilton capable of doing the same thing?
In the CFL, anything's possible.
Damon Allen can't find a receiver. Throws into the corner. It's intercepted. Lorenzo Baker, the linebacker, had dropped off. And he stepped in front of Lee Knight. And that snuffs out the Hamilton drive. And that's something that Winnipeg does differently than Ottawa. The outside linebackers, unlike the Rough Rider linebackers, are capable of dropping off in pass coverage.
Well, they're capable of rushing the passer, and then on situations like this where Damon Allen, he's a bird dog. He's showing exactly where he's going to throw the football. Lorenzo Baker just stepped in front of it. He's 25 yards downfield. Not bad for an outside linebacker.
Allen had 6 straight completions before throwing the interception into the arms of Baker. 1st and 10 Winnipeg from the 25-yard line. Screen pass to Hudson. He's caught from behind by Jeff Fields. That will limit his gain to just a couple of yards.
You get the sense that Winnipeg is reluctant to run Richardson. I guess they know that works, so they're trying some other things now.
And Damon Allen is trying to figure out what he might be able to try the next time the Ticats get the football. Second and 7, Winnipeg. Dunnigan throws to the flat. Oh, that one was almost intercepted. That went right through the hands of Gary Wilkerson. It was intended for Larry Thompson. Had Wilkerson been able to squeeze the Matt Dunnigan throw, he was gone for 6 the other way.
Yeah, Wilkerson was looking at the end zone rather than at the football. He would have caught this and been gone all the way for a touchdown.
That's when he looks back at and says, I should have had it.
Would have, should have, could have.
Mazzoli and Walker are back for Bob Cameron's 3rd down punt. Walker will field it at the 42. Penalty flag in the play. Probably an illegal block against the Hamilton Ticats. Ricky Royal, another penalty flag as the play comes to a conclusion. When Ducana offers savings, it is always on products worth saving for. A Ducana Unidor, the insulated steel door that's a cut above the rest. Our price installed, including GST, $595. This is a door offering a lifetime of beauty, durability, and security. When you want windows and doors worth saving for, let Ducana save for you. Built, sold, serviced, and guaranteed by Ducana. The Unidor, an open and shut case for quality and savings.
Leo grooves for Rassico Chrysler. Leo shakes and rattles, but its cars and trucks just roll. They've got the Chrysler rhythm that'll grab your dancing soul. It's Rassico's in Amherstburg where Leo does his jive. So hop and skip and jump down south of Windsor for a drive. Now move aside, Travolta, Fred Astaire, give him the floor. Make way for Chrysler Leo. He just leaves you wanting more. Rassico Chrysler, Amherstburg.
Everyone's heard of the Stony Point Tavern, and for good reason. They have more than 30 salads and 2 soups made fresh daily in their kitchen. Roasted chicken, ribs, pork chops, Lake Erie perch, and pickerel. A 7-entree land and sea platter for 2, and now, Calgary-style prime rib. Stony Point Tavern has many more entrees and combos, and a large selection of tasty appetizers. $1.95 with any meal. Friendly, full-service waitresses make your dining more pleasurable. The Stony Point Tavern.
November 29th, The Grey Cup on CBC television.
38-year-old Bob Cameron has now moved past Alan Ford in career punting yards in postseason activity in the Canadian Football League. And, you know, in postseason, many times weather conditions are less than ideal, so that is a major achievement for Bob Cameron. By Rod Hill, there are penalty flags, and this one is probably going to be called back. Rod Hill knocked down Winfield in the process of making the interception, and that drew 3 penalty flags.
No doubt about that one.
Winfield limping from the contact with Rod Hill. So you get some idea just how the Winnipeg cornerback stepped in front of him.
And he was surrounded by flags. And he's smiling about it. Rod, we caught you.
I think one of the worst penalties.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 10. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Some of his teammates have said one of the worst penalties that they could be subjected to would be to have to spend 2 hours in the same room as Rod Hill listening to him talk. A non-stop conversationalist.
We've heard him for about 15, 20 minutes, haven't we, Don?
This one is intercepted by Thomas. Andrew Thomas, the safety. The pass was intended for Lonzell Hill. He was knocked down. And John Gregory is some upset over at the Hamilton bench. He felt there should have been a penalty flag. And I'm not so sure he's wrong.
Yeah, Lonzell Hill was knocked to the surface. John Gregory really is upset. That ball was in the air, and how do you rule if it's a catchable throw or not? It hardly looked like incidental contact.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers did not get the football on Rod Hill's interception, but on the pass intended for Lonzell Hill, Andrew Thomas picks it off, and Winnipeg takes over 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. The handoff to Richardson up to the 50-yard line, where he's dragged down by Terry Wright.
Yeah, I guess that expression drag down is pretty accurate. Terry Wright, 190 pounds, has to come over and make the hit on Richardson. They're just not getting any thrust up front. Those big linemen of Winnipeg are dominating the front line of the Ticats.
27,033 in attendance at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon. The offensive line has been opening some big holes for running back Michael Richardson and providing good protection for Dunnigan, who throws complete to Larry Thompson.
And of course, one of the trademarks of the Hamilton defense has been the number of turnovers they've gotten. And it really hasn't shown in this ball game. They haven't been able to get the ball away from Winnipeg.
Thompson really hasn't been a factor this afternoon, but in 4 regular season games against the Ticats, he had 25 catches for 494 yards. Hudson picks up about 3.
Good hit by Peter Giftopoulos. He came in and met Hudson head on, and those are 2 charging bulls meeting each other.
Don McPherson and Damon Allen discuss the next series for the Ticats, and it looks as though Damon Allen will remain at the controls. Actually, Damon Allen hasn't really done anything wrong. He just hasn't had a chance to do anything.
Hasn't had a chance to do anything right. He's been sacked.
A reverse. Thompson gets to the outside. Good block by David Black on Terry Wright, enabling him to turn the corner, and Corus Irvin comes up to make the tackle.
Terry Wright is complaining that he was held, but David Black did a smart thing. He just came back around and did a reverse body block on him. He's telling the officials now, hey, this guy was holding me. That's a neat play. It was off of the counter option, and they gave it to their fast guy Thompson, and he came around. There's a great block you see by David Black.
Back to the live action. Dunnigan fakes to Richardson, throws the other way, intended for Thompson, incomplete. 4:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg 40, Hamilton 11.
There's Chris Walby. It must not be very cold out. He's got his sleeves rolled up, or does he do that all the time?
It's become something of a playoff tradition for Chris Walby. It doesn't matter what the weather conditions, he's short-sleeved.
He may be related to Woody Hayes, who used to wear a short-sleeve shirt. And all hours, any place, anywhere.
When you've got forearms and biceps like that, you really don't need much protection, do you? Dunnigan throws deep, intended for Thompson. It's a jumping contest, and it's won by Todd Wiseman.
Well, Matthew threw one of those in the first half, and Thompson was able to come over and fool that defensive secondary. This time they were prepared for the fair catch throw. There's big Chris Walby. Oh, you get the high-low technique. Block 2.
Troy Westwood will be attempting a 44-yard field goal out of the hold of Bob Cameron. It's wide. Wiseman will run it out of the end zone. I'm not so sure about that decision.
Oh.
And he gets it back to the 15-yard line. 3:43 is the time remaining in the third quarter.
You're about to see a side of the best-selling compact pickup in Canada you never expected. A striking, more aerodynamic shape. A smoother, more controlled ride. Not to mention improved handling and 4x4 traction.
Ford trucks, the best never rest.
Introducing the all-new 1993 Ranger 4x4. Go ahead, get a grip. At your Ford and Mercury dealers.
Tim Hortons has mealtime deals. So come on in for a super deal on our great selection of savory soups and chili, too.
You've always got time for Tim Hortons.
Enjoy one of our soups with a tea biscuit, coffee, and a donut for just $2.99. Or a heartwarming bowl of chili with a coffee, donut, and a Kaiser for $3.99.
Always got time for Tim Hortons.
Soup's on, chili's hot.
All right, gentlemen, today is the first day of basketball. Odd 27 or 28 guys for 12 positions.
Get it up, nice and easy.
I assume you think you can play basketball.
A coach can put you on the team. Your teammates can make you hustle. A scout can get you a scholarship, and the right school can get you on the team.
Williams.
But only the love can make you a player.
Marcus.
You got the love.
Coleman. Pugh. Thomas.
Well, John Moten has just made his way back on the sidelines. The news is bad for him. He's torn a major ligament in his knee, and optimistically speaking, you could say he'll not be available for service next week. But, John, it's been a long day.
Yeah, it has. You know, we come in here, I think, a little too fired up. The team just wasn't there. Winnipeg really came out hard on the ball and stuff, and we tried to come out hard, and,
Well, John, yeah, you're right. You did make a remarkable comeback from last season, 3-15 to this one, and it kind of all came unraveled today. But still, it hasn't been a bad comeback.
Well, it's pretty good. We're still a young team. Hopefully, we'll get it together next year if we don't win this one.
Thanks for your time.
Hey, Mom.
And we should not forget that there is still a quarter and some to go in this game. It's not over yet, but the Bombers have a commanding lead. John Moten out of this game, and we'll need about 3 months, Don, to recover in the offseason.
That's a big loss defensively for the Ticats, but right now they're more concerned about what they might be able to do offensively. Stan Mikowas put the pressure on Damon Allen. He's under the gun again, dumps it off to Orville Lee, and Lee will get back to the original line of scrimmage and not much further. With 2:41 remaining in the third quarter.
They have those 5 people coming, and it's any 5 of the up front 7, and they just can't seem to get beyond them. Hooker made a good job. Randolph coming upfield, forced to play. So if you're not blitzing as a linebacker, you got to get over there and make some tackles. Pretty simple defense when you think about it. There's 3 down linemen. They get up there and tie up the people, and then those linebackers go after you.
Winnipeg will get the ball again in excellent field position. The ball bounces in front of Bruce Plummer. He picks it up. Penalty flag in the play at the 38-yard line. Once again, let's bring in Scott.
Well, Don, I guess we could give odds now that the Bombers will be in the Grey Cup next week. And, of course, the week kicks off on Thursday with the CFL's Outstanding Player Awards. Dan Gallagher will head an all-star cast of nominees and entertainers that include Prairie Oyster and Love and Sass, and it happens at 8 o'clock. But in the Maritimes, we advise you to check your listings. And then Grey Cup on CBC on Game Day Sunday begins at 5 Eastern with Countdown 1992, featuring all the key stories of the 80th Grey Cup Championship. And then CBC Sports will bring you exclusive coverage of the 1992 Grey Cup game. It all comes your way live from Skydome in Toronto. And for all of you planning to be in Toronto for the game, you don't want to miss Fan Bowl at the Metro Toronto Convention Center from Thursday on.
Should be an exciting week in Toronto, and Matt Dunnigan is decked by Terry Wright just as he was about to throw. That's the first time this afternoon that the Ticats have been able to get to the Winnipeg quarterback.
Yeah, Matt really got knocked down on that one, and Terry Wright was on the read blitz. Now look at Matt. He's the kind of quarterback, he'll tell his lineman, hey, you guys better start doing some blocking. You expect me to get something done. He's got that leadership ability that he'll talk to people about not getting the job done.
He might be suggesting the solution is to give the ball to Mike Richardson again. Richardson trying to break away from the tackle of Terry Wright, but he stopped at the 35-yard line.
That's as quiet as we've ever seen him.
Not for long.
Not for long.
He was just thinking. .125 remaining in the third quarter. Troy Westwood will attempt a 42-yard field goal. This one is good.
What a season Westwood has had. 55 yards is his longest field goal, but he's firing at about 75% of his field goals, and that's with only half a head of hair.
John Gregory talking to Damon Allen with some final instructions. 43-11 the score. 1:16 remaining in the third quarter. Ticats staged a late comeback against Ottawa in the Eastern semifinal, but the deficit they faced last Sunday was only 15 points. Intended for Richard Nurse, knocked away by Darrell Sampson. And every time Damon Allen has stepped back to throw, he's been under tremendous pressure.
And the defensive secondary, they're playing a lot of man coverage, and they just haven't allowed anyone to get open.
It's been a frustrating afternoon for that man, Brett the Toaster Williams. He and his defensive line mates simply have not been able to stop the running of Michael Richardson.
Well, he's usually double teamed, and that's a tough position, that nose tackle.
2nd and 10, Hamilton. Intended for Winfield, knocked away by Rod Hill. And again, Damon Allen went down as he threw, thanks to Vaughn Booker and Lorenza Baker.
And thanks to the pass routes. Damon has got pass routes called that take longer for his receivers to get open than he's got protection, and that's trouble.
Rod Hill earlier in this quarter thought he had an interception, but it was negated by an interference call. Again, when Damon Allen attempted to go for Earl Winfield, it was knocked away by Rod Hill. Plummer waits for Paul Osbaldiston's 3rd down punt. He takes it at the 43. And he won't get any further than the 47. Terry Wright was in on the tackle, a 4-yard return. Scott?
Well, as we've said before, Don, second half of Final Sunday happens at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We'll go there as soon as this East Division final is over for the West Division Championship game between the Eskimos and the Stampeders. The Eskimo team bus arrived at McMahon a short while ago, and there's the Gizmo, all set and hoping to return another one for a touchdown as he did last week. If he could, it would help the Eskimos' cause in this game. They also have history on their side, as the host team in each of the last 5 West Division Championship games has not won.
Richardson takes the little swing pass from Dunnigan and gets another first down on the final play of the third quarter. Winnipeg leads by 32.
Now, with a Big Mac Extra Value meal and a kids combo, dinner at McDonald's should sound as good to you as it does to your kids.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's tonight.
David, bath time. David?
We saw that we could move the windshield forward on a sedan and reduce wind noise while increasing visibility. We saw that moving the wheels toward the corners would result in greater stability and more passenger room. We saw that this cab-forward design is not only more aerodynamic, it looks and feels like nothing else on the road. And when you drive it, you'll see it for what it is, a radical departure. The all-new Intrepid from Chrysler.
Isn't it nice, oh isn't it nice to have a taste for life?
Well, unless there's some sort of miracle on Maroons Road for the Hamilton Ticats, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are indeed bound for the Sky Dome in Toronto next Sunday afternoon and the 1992 Grey Cup game. And Cal Murphy standing in the background now as the man who has handled the general manager responsibilities in his absence. Lyle Bauer looks on with, I'm sure, a great amount of satisfaction at what his team has accomplished thus far. The toss to Richardson. And Richardson got a couple of yards before being driven back. Terry Wright was hurt on the final play of the third quarter, and he is also out of the Hamilton lineup. And now Don McPherson warms up. Don McPherson came on in the fourth quarter last week to direct the come-from-behind win over Ottawa, and then immediately left for West Hempstead, New York, where he's very involved in a drug and alcohol abuse program in the high schools. And he spoke to some 400 high school students, athletes helping athletes. He's also getting quite involved in that same program in the Hamilton area. Frank Pillow takes a hit from Corus Irvin, but he manages to hang on to the football. Winnipeg has another first down.
Well, there's the kind of guy you don't want to give a lead to because he can do so many things. He's got the mobility. He's intelligent enough to get those draw plays working, and he runs an option play. I mean, Matt Dunnigan is an all-around football player. The only bad rap they've had on him is that he gets injured, and when you watch him play, you know why he gets injured. He's an all-out guy.
Richardson will get just a couple of yards before being driven back. Well, of the Winnipeg linebacking core, two gentlemen in the back, Paul Randolph. Well, that's Vaughn Booker, not Lorenzo Baker, but Randolph and Baker don't get as much recognition as Battle and West.
And this Booker, he was some kind of find. This guy wasn't even playing football last year. He came up from the University of Cincinnati, and look what he's done.
Dunnigan throws into the end zone for Alphen. Incomplete. Alphen was juggling the football between the two defenders. Wiseman and Jackson were back with him, and for a moment he thought he had a shot at it. You know, Dunnigan, when we talked earlier, we said he puts a lot more zip in the ball than Danny McManus, but this afternoon, Joe, he's throwing a few floaters.
Yeah, he has. He's thrown a lot of deep balls, and there's been a lot of air under them. This one could be anybody's catch. In fact, all three of them had a chance at it.
Troy Westwood lines up in field goal formation again from the 41-yard line. It's good. 12:38 is the time remaining at Winnipeg Stadium. And the Bombers are 12:38 away from a Grey Cup appearance.
This is a perfect place to grow the Chardonnay grape. The hillside vineyards of Ernest and Julio Gallo in Northern California. nurtured by Ernest and Julio for almost a quarter of a century. And this is the perfect place to enjoy the fruits of their labor, the crisp, dry North Coast Chardonnay of Ernest and Julio Gallo. Come taste the work of a lifetime.
Gregory is a member of the War Ants Champ Program for child amputees. He visited the Sky Dome to present the Play Safe Award to CFL Commissioner Larry Smith.
Thank you very much for the beautiful plaque, Gregory. The CFL is proud to support the Play Safe program. Hey, Greg, do you have a message for the kids watching here? Whatever game you play, play safe.
You could stuff a whole sheep down there.
You look great.
I look ridiculous. You look ridiculous. That's it.
Nice phone.
I could use that. Hey, put that down.
Oh, Bell long distance gift certificate.
Oh, yeah, I picked those up for Ted's sister. And now she's a mom. She's calling everybody in the country. Keith?
No.
Oh, come on. I lost weight. Oh, get in the spirit.
No.
When you buy a phone from your Bell Phone Center or long-distance gift certificates, you could win a trip anywhere Santa flies.
I look ridiculous.
You look regal.
Cute as a button.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will almost certainly be flying east to Toronto in the middle of next week to face either Calgary or Edmonton in the Grey Cup game. Matt Dunnigan, who missed all but 2 of the team's last 9 games in this Eastern Final, has been very sharp in directing Winnipeg's attack.
And so many people talked about Dunnigan's contract and the fact that he was injured. Didn't get to play a lot of football, but he wasn't injured today.
Don McPherson comes in, 1st and 10, Hamilton from the 35-yard line. His first pass complete to Winfield, and Winfield got away from Rod Hill and gets a first down before being forced out of bounds.
So important for a quarterback to come in and be able to connect on that first pass. That gets him going in his rhythm and gets him a little confidence. And when you throw to Winfield, you usually will connect.
Don McPherson has taken over from Damon Allen. Will Danny McManus get the same opportunity to replace Matt Dunnigan? A low throw intended for Winfield. Again, he was being covered by Rod Hill.
Some coaches will say, don't ever feel bad about a quarterback throwing the ball low, because that means he followed through and he's throwing off his front leg. Feel bad when those balls sail on him, when they go way up over somebody's head. That means he's gun shy. Well, Don McPherson isn't gun shy. He's anxious and willing to get into the ball game.
Battle is after him. He tried to dump it off to Lee Knights. It's incomplete. Doesn't seem to make any difference whether it's Allen or McPherson. Hamilton's offensive line is having just so many difficulties containing Winnipeg's linebackers.
And if Winnipeg's linebackers, including Greg Battle, face somebody next week like a Tracy Ham or a Doug Flutie in the Grey Cup, that pressure they get from the outside can be a key to it, because they make those quarterbacks pull up.
Bruce Plummer stands back at his own 20-yard line for this 3rd down. Paul Osbaldiston punt. Winnipeg jumped into a 14-0 lead. The Ticats got a touchdown on the final play of the opening quarter to make it 14-10. But that's as close as they got.
And everyone was talking about the kickers could make the difference in this ball game.
Good kick by Osbaldiston. Plummer takes it at the 15-yard line. And he brings it back to the 30 for a 15-yard return. A 50-yard kick by Paul Osbaldiston. Immediately following this Eastern Final, we'll be swinging to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders will entertain the Edmonton Eskimos in the Western Final. The Stampeders trying to end a 6-year string where the host team in the West Final has not emerged as the Western champion. Matt Dunnigan remains at quarterback for Winnipeg. 1st and 10, the ball at the 30-yard line. He gives the ball to Richardson, and Richardson breaks into the open. Out of bounds at the 47. A 33-yard run for Michael Richardson.
And this Winnipeg crowd, they are so fired up when they see the good running backs. They've been spoiled over the years. They've had some good running backs. They seem to enjoy that more than a long pass.
And did you notice how Richardson got the other hand on the football when he anticipated the contact? He covered up. Because, as I mentioned, he had all those fumbles early in the season. 185 yards so far this afternoon.
And 0 fumbles.
He'll get about 3 more, maybe 4. Mike Kelly standing beside Urban Bowman, continuing to call plays for Matt Dunnigan. The first time in his career, the final game of the regular season against Ottawa, where Dunnigan was not making all the decisions in play selection. He was getting help from the bench, and it's a format that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers use today and will likely use next Sunday at Skydome in Toronto. Richardson again. He's over 200 running yards for the day. What a performance by Michael Richardson.
Well, Mike Kelly's done a good job of calling the plays today if you go by how many yards they've made, because he's certainly been productive. And Dunnigan content to hand that ball off on the draw play to Richardson, but he just looks for the open seam. And watch the power. He runs with some authority. He goes through people. He'll break tackles.
Skip Walker established the league record 253 yards in 1982. The way Richardson is running, he might threaten that mark. He has 209 yards. Brett Williams manages to bring him down, one of the few times he's been tackled for a loss. Well, the Toronto Argonauts spoiled Winnipeg's Grey Cup party last year. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be at Skydome to spoil the Argos Grey Cup party this year. The Argos had anticipated that in hosting the 1992 Grey Cup game, they might also be playing in it, as Winnipeg did a year ago, but that was not the case.
We won't see the double blue, but we'll see the big blue.
Play is whistled down. No flags, at least none that we can see. Apparently there's a delay because of an ambulance coming onto the field. One of the cheerleaders, a member of the Blue Brigade, apparently has been injured. So with the ambulance going around the perimeter of the playing field to the sidelines on the east side of Winnipeg Stadium, referee Jake Ireland called the play off. Now Matt Dunnigan moves up. On 2nd down, Dunnigan looks into the end zone for Gerald Elfin. He's got a penalty flag in the play.
I think we'll see offensive interference. Elfin was pushing him off all the way down.
He was pushing off Gary Wilkerson. Pardon me, make that Jackson. And it is interference Winnipeg.
Well, he did it about 3 times. Now, normally they get away with it 1 time, but he did it 3.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 86. Repeat 2nd down.
And you see right there, that's about the 3rd bump. And it's supposed to be anybody's ball. Both people have a right to go for the football, but not to push each other out of the way.
But still pretty good concentration by Alphin in following the flight of the ball with all that contact with Tim Jackson. Dunnigan throws to the sidelines to Thompson. Thompson comes back the other way looking for some blocking help. And he almost got a 1st down. Let's see where they spot it.
What a great effort by Thompson, and we've seen him do that so much today. That 2nd effort is something that is his trademark.
They'll They'll spot the ball at the 17-yard line, so he's going to be short of the first down. And with 7:45 remaining, Troy Westwood, who has kicked field goals of 23, 41, and 42 yards, will attempt a 24-yarder. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are closing in on 50 points. They lead the Ticats 49-11 with 7:29 left.
I did some number crunching last night. Guess how much of our business comes from out of town?
30%.
Try 48.
Oh.
And I looked at our long distance bill.
Oh?
Guess what we're spending? When did we start saving this much?
Since Bell looked at our long-distance calling and recommended a savings plan months ago.
With Bell, you get more than long-distance savings. Good price and reliable service. Today, that's real value.
Guess how much this bill is?
$14.50.
Right. Gotta go.
Long-distance business sense from Bell. Call us.
A healthy animal. Shiny coat, good body weight, friendly disposition, getting a loan, having a bank see the potential of my business in times like these. $1 billion. We could use some of that. There you go. Who's next?
Frings for a penny? Get out of town. Like half is,
Frings are back. And they're only a penny extra when you order either of Harvey's all-time favorite sandwich specials. The Texan with real barbecue flavor, or the one and only Chicken Geneva.
they're like... French, we call them Fidel.
Penny Frings, only at Harvey's.
No decision required.
Beautiful choice, beautiful value.
They're like I like them.
November 29th, the Grey Cup on CBC television.
Just over 27,000 have enjoyed what they have witnessed thus far at Winnipeg Stadium. Close to 30,000 are expected at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. They're hoping that the Stampeder defense will be able to control Edmonton quarterback Tracy Ham, just as Vaughn Booker has taken control and dumped Damon Allen for a loss back at the 30-yard line.
Well, this is a typical three-step drop, and you have to throw that football on 3 steps. McPherson pumped with it. He couldn't get it done. So what happens on a 3-step drop? Your offensive line, they just fire out into the legs of these people, and you don't have much time. Boom, they're down in there, and Booker just gets back up. Hey, you don't have that much time, McPherson.
I think I said Damon Allen. Don McPherson is at the controls of the Hamilton offense. Penalty flag, 2nd and 15. It was intended for Lonzell Hill, incomplete.
Well, new quarterback in there and a new cadence, and those receivers trying to get a head start jumped offside. They're going to decline it.
It was 2nd and 15.
Offside. Hamilton, number 17. Decline. 3rd down.
Ken Avrere, who has scored Hamilton's lone touchdown on a beautiful catch on the final play of the opening quarter, was offside.
And defensive coaches talk about how many times did you hold the opponent to 2 plays and out? 1-2 kick. A whole bunch of times today for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers holding the Ticats.
Bruce Plummer from the 35, and as he tried to make a cut, Jim Yock came up and drove him to the turf at the 37. A 3-yard return.
When you're looking for the best insulation for your home, remember,
La 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 la.
not all insulation is the same.
La 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 la.
Watch out for imposters.
La la.
Do it right. Do it pink.
I have a lot of trouble with my neck. So?
I have trouble with my back, and I find it really helps.
When you've got sore, aching muscles, remember, rub A535. Wherever it hurts, it helps.
I put it on all my sore spots.
Pieces of protection you trust, depending on where you go. condoms anywhere you do. Trust Trojan condoms. Reduce the risk.
The adult world is designed to keep us moving. And while this may make us more efficient, it's not exactly a party. Luckily, technology has produced a cure. It's called a Game Boy, the personal game-playing system from Nintendo, with lots of sports, action, and puzzle games to choose from. And it comes with a puzzle game Tetris. It could change your outlook.
I'm sorry, sir. Your flight's been delayed.
Cool. Game Boy by Nintendo. Have you had your fun today?
When you're looking for the best insulation for your home, remember,
La 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 la.
not all insulation is the same.
La 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 la.
Watch out for imposters. Do it right. Do it pink.
Well, if they hadn't done so previously, a lot of Winnipeg football fans are undoubtedly now making plans to travel to Toronto next week for the 1992 Grey Cup game. The time of possession favors Winnipeg by just over 7 minutes. Not that significant a difference when you look at the scoreboard, and a 38-point Winnipeg lead. Warren Hudson gets the call this time, and he has about 4 before being driven back.
Winnipeg would like to destroy some of their keys in this ballgame. There's the guy who made the big play for Hamilton. That was as nice a catch as we've seen all year in a double coverage situation. And he's a competitive guy. He does a great job on blocking. And you don't see many slot backs that are involved in a blocking game.
You see the back of his helmet, all Canadian. As he said the other night, that's not to imply that I'm an all-Canadian, all-star type of player. The fact that I am all-Canadian and proud of the fact that I am born in this country. Richardson again. Forrest Urban. Gain of 18.
Well, it doesn't have to be awfully fancy, does it? I think if you get the ball out to 31, whether it's an option, whether it's a toss, or whether it's a counter play or draw play, he'll do something with it. And look at him cover that football when he gets tackled.
The biggest game of Mike Richardson's career. The second highest playoff total. What is Matthew Dunnigan doing running the football at this stage of the game?
Well, that's the kind of guy he is. That's what he does. That's his job. And he likes to carry the football on all occasions, likes to throw those passes. You know, he throws that bullet pass on the intermediate routes. And like you said today, he's been throwing them way up, and Bowman's saying, this guy must be crazy.
You saw Urban Bowman cover his eyes, and I think he agrees with my statement. What is Dunnigan doing carrying the ball? He gives it to Matt Pierce as the Bombers are substituting freely. The Ticats have also made a number of substitutions late in the ball game.
Well, Urban Bowman said that I'm not going to play Matt Dunnigan until he's 100%. But, you know, there are very few times when Matt Dunnigan is 100% because of his style of play.
So as we look forward to next Sunday's Grey Cup game, Joe, is Mike Richardson going to be a key for Winnipeg in the Grey Cup battle as he was here today?
I think every bit as big a key as he was today, and the defenses are going to have to respect that phase of the game.
Dunnigan for Alphen, in and out of his hands.
Oh, Matthews not happy with that. Perfect pass. Now that was a good throw. We've seen Matt put some balls up with a lot of air underneath them today. That was a perfect throw.
3:25 the time remaining.
When you have a Richardson, you have people, look, right there, right there. When you have a Richardson, they have to overplay that run. The run defense, that opens it up in the secondary. That's what Hamilton's problem was today. They couldn't establish anything. They couldn't get the Blue Bombers to look at any one thing so that they could work their play action off of it.
2nd and 10. Dunnigan's arm was hit as he tried to throw, but Thompson comes back to make the catch. But they're ruling, I think, that he had stepped out of bounds with 3:01 remaining in the football game.
Canada has one of the best health care systems in the world.
But let's face it, we have a serious challenge with rising costs. And one of the best ways of keeping costs down is to develop more new prescription medicines that control disease, that reduce the need for hospital treatment or surgery. And that saves Canada's healthcare system hundreds of millions of dollars. Prescription medicines save money, as well as lives.
Canada's brand name pharmaceutical companies, bringing research to life.
Coffee's right there.
Taster's choice.
Hi. Do you want the lady of the house?
Well,
She's getting changed. Do you want some coffee?
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Who was at the door?
He said he was a neighbor.
And did you tell him who you are?
He didn't ask. Great coffee.
For years, we had a love affair. Then we found out the butter we loved had cholesterol. But now, hearts are soaring once again as people are discovering the fresh butter-like taste of...
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not butter is a new margarine flavored with sweet cream buttermilk for that fresh butter-like taste. But without the cholesterol to spoil the romance. I can't believe it's not butter.
I never thought it could be this good again.
I can't believe it's not butter. The taste you loved without the cholesterol.
Fans came to Winnipeg Stadium, 27,000 strong this afternoon, prepared to celebrate, and their football heroes have not let them down. 3:01 remains, 49-11 is the score. Winnipeg will be heading to the 1992 Grey Cup game next Sunday in Toronto against either Calgary or Edmonton. Troy Westwood with a 45-yard field goal attempt. Before they get the play underway, the whistle blows. There's been a request for a change in footballs, apparently. Nick Benjamin handles the third down snaps for Winnipeg. Bob Cameron holds. Troy Westwood will kick. They had to reset the 20-second clock, and they had to reset the scoreboard clock, taking it back to 3:01. Now it starts to run. A 45-yard field goal try is good. And in contrast to the 4 regular season meetings between these two teams, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have turned this one into a rout. 52-11 they lead. And the Blue Bombers are only 3 points away from a playoff record they established in 1984.
One of the things with a swarming defense like Winnipeg has is that when you get a lead, sometimes you can just totally dominate the other team because they just can't get anything established. And that's the way it's worked with those linebackers of Winnipeg. They have really been active today.
Those 55 points in 84 that Winnipeg scored were against Edmonton. Greg Battle intercepts, and Battle is brought down inside the 10-yard line.
Every time we see Greg Battle run with the football, we wonder why he's not playing in the backfield. This guy's some kind of athlete. He just dropped back in zone coverage, took the ball away, and then he was running.
I think Urban Bowman has decided it's time to take the headset off as well.
And put Danny McManus in, which is a good decision. You wonder how many times Dunnigan's going to take a hit in this game when they've got another playoff game next week.
So many teams, Joe, have moved a defensive back up into a linebacking position because of the need for more speed in their pass coverage. Winnipeg doesn't have to do that because they have a guy like Greg Battle, who in the past has, on occasion, played safety.
Yeah, he's got the speed that he could play safety without any problem.
McManus hands off to Warren Hudson, and he drives to about the 5-yard line. There's a penalty flag on the play. Frustration, easy for me to say, and emotions at the tail end of the game, overflowing just a wee bit.
Go to the ear, right here. Go to the ear, right here. Right here.
Well, they've been saying that for 3 days, that Urban's the coach of the year.
He got his early shower.
Paul Randolph, he's doing it in a nicer way. He's just telling him person to person. But there has been glowing accolades bestowed upon Urban Bowman. And one of the great things that he did was that he stayed with his ball club. Got the good players in there. And hey, John Gregory's done a great job this year as well.
It was a difficult situation that Urban Bowman was forced to step into. First and goal, Winnipeg, with the penalty against the Ticats. The toss to Matt Pierce, touchdown.
I thought the key to Urban Bowman's success was that when they were struggling with about a 500 record, and there was a lot of arrows being shot at different people, he didn't do anything. He didn't react to it. He didn't get overly excited about their situation. Good job here by Pierce. He's got great blocking in front of him, and he takes it in for the touchdown. That's nice for a backup to get a chance to score.
2:30 remaining. Troy Westwood adds Winnipeg's 59th point. That is a playoff record as the Bombers better the 55 points they scored against Edmonton in 1984. You talk about Urban Bowman, and Bowman on the 2nd of October in Edmonton, after the Bombers had been hammered 45-25 by the Eskimos, went into the dressing room. Many of the players were anticipating a bit of a verbal outburst from Bowman, and he said, guys, we're right where we want to be. We're now in position to win our final 5 and finish in first place. That's exactly what they did.
These other teams think they can beat us. We're in the best position to spring the trap.
Football fans were prepared to celebrate today, but I don't think they anticipated anything like what they've witnessed. 59-11. They lead Hamilton. On the kickoff return. Taken down as he gets up to the 52-yard line by Chris Sangaros. 29-yard run back of a 52-yard kick. John Gregory took over the Ticats on Labor Day a year ago, led them to their first victory of the season over the Toronto Argonauts. They finished 3-15, but what a turnaround this year. Tied for first place with Winnipeg, 11-7. Winnipeg getting the edge because of points for and against in games between the two teams. Got a lot of talented players on this Hamilton football team. This game should be no reflection on what they've accomplished. Lee Knight dropped for a loss.
Well, John Bonk has probably had the biggest job to do. That offensive line was totally restructured. But I think the things that Gregory put together this year is marked improvement on their offense. They were last, actually worst, and then they worked their way up to first. And as you said, it was a tie with Winnipeg, and points were the only thing that separated the two.
2nd and 14. Lonzell Hill covered by Bruce Smith, incomplete.
But he credits Damon Allen with turning the ball club around. He said that was the focal point. If we could get a guy like Damon Allen in here and then develop a guy like McPherson, we'd have 2 solid quarterbacks for the future. Damon just couldn't get any pass protection today. Really wasn't able to get anything established, but certainly through the year with 11 victories, the best road record of any CFL team. Actually, the only people to have beaten Winnipeg here in the regular season.
You know, when you look back at the Hamilton performance against Winnipeg this year, 3rd down punt brought back by Plummer to the 37-yard line. And there obviously were some problems with some of the fans over on the east side in behind the Hamilton bench. And some of the Hamilton players had ventured over there. John Gregory attempting to settle things down. With the snow in the stands, the spectators making snowballs and, not surprisingly, throwing them at players on the Hamilton bench.
Just keep the helmets on, guys.
Corus Irvin was up in the stands. Wrong spot to be, Corus.
I don't think he's very smart.
Matt Pierce, the ball carrier, stopped after a gain of a couple.
This is the time to get around your teammates. Is he signing autographs?
Well, a couple of the spectators and security people trying to intervene as one of the fans was saying something to Irvin, but he went a long way up in the stands. Now, how did he pick that guy out way up about 25 rows back?
He must have known him from before.
The problem for John Gregory and the Ticats is that Irvin isn't available with the defensive unit out in the field right now. Ricky Royal is in there in his place.
He may be in his place for a long time to come. It's not a great decision to run up into the stands. I know Mike Ditka tried it a while back. Bob Vespiziani is still keeping that intensity because he wants that up front. They got to get some pressure.
1:24 is the time remaining in the game. Scott?
Well, Don, the Hamilton players' frustration has mounted the whole game. You know, early in the game, they were being subjected to snowballs and pieces of ice thrown out of the stands by fans on that side of the stadium. And Orville Lee, in fact, was hit with one and threw it back into the stands. It hit a fan in the head, I think. I don't think the fan was hurt, but it certainly added to the frustration, and it just boiled over there a few moments ago when Corus Irvin went into the stands.
An unfortunate incident. Scott Walker on the punt return. It draws a penalty flag. James West makes the tackle. No yards will be the call against Winnipeg. A 35-yard kick, a 3-yard run back. Well, Miles Garrell knows what a difficult year it was last season in Hamilton. He was with the Ticats, suffering through their 3-15 year. Now he's headed for the Grey Cup game as a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Have some fun.
Yeah, he and Chris Walby said we're bookends.
I'm not going to Disneyland. I'm going to the Cup. Toronto. Whoever we play, they better watch out because we're coming to kick ass. 80 and Tom.
Well, David Black has done a good job today. I can remember him downfield making some key blocks on several occasions.
We're into the final minute. Hamilton, 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Orville Lee, the ball carrier, a gain of 6 yards. Grant and Randolph, along with Sangaris, all in the stop.
And those snowballs are still raining on the Hamilton bench.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the area around the two benches. Around the Hamilton bench, all sorts of snow. The Winnipeg bench is clean.
Now, some of the players are trying to catch the snowballs, and other ones aren't even aware of it. They're just getting them on the back of the head.
Orville Lee again. He should have a first down across the midfield stripe with 30 seconds remaining. And very soon, we'll be shifting over to McMahon Stadium in Calgary for the Western Final between the Eskimos and the Stampeders.
Well, what do you think, Don? The running game of the Eskimos, you think it'll do the same thing as the running game of Winnipeg?
Well, they have been forecasting heavy snow for later today in Calgary, but so far, none of it has fallen at McMahon Stadium.
I don't know how you can say Calgary doesn't have a running game, though, because when they've wanted to have that running game, it's worked.
Kevan Jenkins has played well in the last few games for Calgary. Bob Cameron heading to another Grey Cup game. Along with his Winnipeg Blue Bomber teammates, Bob Molly congratulating Urban Bowman on the job he has done with the team this year. I don't know whether we're going to get this final play underway as fans are pouring out of the stands onto the playing field. The final seconds have ticked away. 59-11 is the score, and I don't think there's any hope whatsoever.
I think he should get the clubs out of there.
running a final play, and they are not going to do it. They are going to call the game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Eastern champions, as they win it by a score of 59-11, the third time since the Bombers moved into the Eastern Division that they have won the championship. So it will be Winnipeg against either Edmonton or Calgary in the Grey Cup game next Sunday at Skydome. The Western champion to be decided in just a few moments, getting underway in Calgary.
Leon's Additions, take 12.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, it's close.
It's Leon's Ho, Ho, Hold the Payment.
Lots of energy now.
Ho, 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 ho.
You got another one?
Ho.
Get the furniture you need for the holidays with no interest and no payment till June.
You're at the North Pole. It's snowing, it's Christmas, and...
Ho, ho, ho.
Leon's Ho, Ho, Hold the Payment. No matter how you say it, it's just a better way to buy furniture.
You're fat, you're jolly, and...
Ho, ho, ho.
Great.
Bricks are bricks, right? There's clay, the real McCoy, and calcite. No difference if all you're doing is cracking nuts. But when you buy a house, that's when it counts. You pay a lot for your home, and you cannot afford substitutes. You need the real McCoy.
Nothing replaces the real McCoy, because out there, nature does her worst, and you have to be sure the beauty will last. You've got to have the real McCoy, only by Canada Brick.
To settle for less is nuts.
Frings for a penny? Get out of town.
Like half is,
Frings are back. And they're only a penny extra when you order either of Harvey's all-time favorite sandwich specials. The Texan with real barbecue flavor, or the one and only chicken Geneva.
They're like... French, we call them pribes.
Penny Frings, only at Harvey's.
No decision required.
Beautiful choice, beautiful value. They're like I like them.
It was clear early in this East Division final the Bombers would not be denied a berth in the Grey Cup. The 59-11 final score, testament to just how dominant the Bombers were over the Ticats today. They say the running game is all important on the prairies in November. Was that not so today? Hey, we're looking way up there, Michael, because our camera had trouble getting through the crowd. The fans have surrounded us here. Oh, you can look at me if that's not too painful. Let me ask you about the kind of game you had. If you had gone to bed dreaming about playing in the playoffs, really well, this would have been the kind of game that you would have wanted to have.
Definitely. I think up front, the offensive line dominated, and they enabled me to have the game that I had. I think you can have no better game than I had today, and thanks to the offensive line and the coaches for everything, for just enforcing the good practice and stuff like that.
What about the offensive line? You mentioned them, but say a few more words about the big holes they opened up for you, because they were enormous.
Definitely. Guys like Miles Gorell and Banky, Blackie, all those guys up there, they do a wonderful job. I mean, it's nothing that I would want to replace my offensive line. It's no other offensive line out there that I would want besides them.
There's the scene here in this end of the stadium where we are, all the fans seeming to want airtime to wish the Bombers well in the Grey Cup. All right, one of the keys in this game, Michael, was taking the lead early, and you also added to it. This one made the score, I think, 36-11 or thereabouts.
Matt walked into the huddle. He called a draw play. He told us, get back in the huddle. We're going to got to get another play off. We only had 30-some seconds left. I told him, no, man, meet me in the end zone. And Miles Gorell, Chris Walker looked at me and said, let's go, bud. I said, all right, let's do it.
You stayed warm because it was kind of chilly out there, and you also got traction.
Definitely. I wore the baseball cleats out today. A lot of guys looked at me like I was crazy, but when we was out for pregame, a lot of the guys came back in and put on the same shoes. The surface was real hard. It was a great day for a great game.
The season's gone zooming past you. A quick word about the Grey Cup. If you had a chance to think about what it means to be there.
Yeah, I thought about it a little bit. At first, I didn't ever think we'll make it this far, but having confidence in each other got us here. Being one team got us here.
Michael, thanks for your time. Congratulations on an outstanding game today. I'd say this, if you could play this well next week, won't matter who you play.
Definitely. We don't care who we play. We're there now.
All right, it's wild down here, Don. Up to you, where you may have more control over the crowd than we do.
Well, Scott, it is a mob scene down in the playing field as the Winnipeg Blue Bomber football fans celebrate their 59-11 win over the Hamilton Ticats. Joe, last week, Reggie Barnes had success running the ball against Hamilton. Winnipeg obviously picked up on what Ottawa was able to do because that was a tremendous performance by Richardson.
Well, Richardson, we knew, was a great back going into the football game. What surprised me more than that was the fact that Hamilton wasn't able to get anything going. And in their last 4 meetings, Hamilton scored quite a few points. So the defense of Winnipeg looks like it's back to their old self.
You know, last week, Coach John Gregory said he was a little concerned about his offensive line and the job they would have to do blocking the likes of Snipes and Stuman. They had success last week, but they couldn't control Winnipeg's linebackers today.
Yeah, I think the problem is that last week they knew where Snipes, Stuman were coming from, the outside every time. But in this ball game, you don't know where Winnipeg linebackers are coming from or which Winnipeg linebackers are coming. They blitzed the inside people. James West gave them a lot of trouble. And then the outside people, Baker is extremely tough. Booker had a good ball game. So the defense dominated up front, and I think both sides of the ball up front is where it counts.
Were you surprised at all that Damon Allen seemed to be content to stay back in the pocket rather than scrambling more?
Yeah, I thought he'd do more rollouts, but apparently those linebackers coming up, I think Baker made him pull up more often than he wanted to.
Well, Winnipeg's game plan was to get into the face of Damon Allen, and they did that continuously.
Well, they got in his face, they got into his shoulders, they got into his body, and they knocked him down quite a bit, so it was effective.
Winnipeg's defense outstanding today in a 59-11 win, and Michael Richardson brilliant as well as he led the team with an outstanding rushing performance. Winnipeg is headed to the Grey Cup. We're headed downstairs where I think Scott Oak is standing by.
James West was also brilliant today, Don. Hey, I want to take a moment here and thank the members of the Winnipeg Police Department who are here holding back the crowd, who are wild to say the least. All right, James, tell me about the game. You had 3 sacks and you're all 36 years of age. You're getting better with every year.
Well, praise God for the victory. We know we had to come up with a big effort defensively. We know coming into the season, coming into this game, that we need a total team effort. We hadn't played our best game yet, and I think this probably was, we saved the best for our last.
During the game, I said to you, what's the reason for this lopsided score? And you said one thing, we're focused, and focused on our paychecks.
Yeah, definitely. Our motto this week is more money, more money. So we focused on that, and I thought that's why we played so well.
I also asked you about Cal Murphy, if his presence here was any inspiration. You said, honestly, we knew what we had to do before Cal got here.
Yeah, you know, no sense to lying about that. We're glad Cal's back. You know, we're glad for his family. We're glad for his health. He looks great. The win is all, you know, for ourselves first of all, and then win it for Cal. You know, we need the money too.
Now you can't wait to get to Toronto to play somebody in the Grey Cup game. Does it matter who you face?
Doesn't really matter. We just, you know, we want to win this game and then get there. We want to be in Toronto this year because Toronto parted in our city last year. We want to party in theirs.
Let's have a look at one of your sacks today and let you savor this victory a little bit more through the luxury of slow motion replay.
Well, this is just like a straight-up blitz, and I beat the guard, and I was lucky enough to get there, and Damon's pretty elusive, so made a tackle. I was lucky to get that tackle. Damon's a slippery guy. He's a great quarterback.
You know, again, I can't believe you're 36 years of age and the blinding speed you have.
Be older than that next month. I want to say hello to my family that's watching in Fort Worth, Houston, and my friends in Detroit. We'll see you next week. Love you, Mel.
As I said to Michael Richardson a moment ago, it doesn't matter who you play next week if you play this well.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We just really want to play. We really want to play. I'm excited. I don't know what to say.
Okay, James, good luck trying to get back to the locker room. You may need an escort. Well, the Bombers don't often lose at home. Winnipeg Stadium home field advantage really seems to mean something. And because the Bombers made the most of it today, they're in the Grey Cup game for the 4th time in 9 years. They're on a 6-game win streak now. And if they can push it to 7, the Grey Cup will be theirs. 59-11 the final. Who will the Bombers face in the Grey Cup game at Skydome 1 week today? Well, for the answer to that question, we go to Calgary, where the Stampeders and Eskimos are all set for the West Division final. Mark Lee is standing by there. I know they're expecting some wild winter weather conditions there. We'll see how well the Stamps and Eskimos handle them. Here's the scene at Winnipeg Stadium, where the fans are celebrating a lopsided Bomber victory. Mark, how about your